Hello, everyone. Welcome to the annual Majora's Mask Community Glitchless Race. We are here once again towards the start of the year, getting all the people who love the Glitchless any percent speedrun together for a nice little race. My name is Vidya James. I'm your race streamer today. And my co-commentator, please introduce yourself.
Hello there, I'm Fox. I've done a lot of task work for Majora's Mask, and I've also done some really big contributions to the Glitchless speedrun in general, both this and the 100% run.
Yeah, we're going to get started fairly shortly here. Let me just get the... make sure this works properly. My first restream in quite a while, so I just want to make sure I have no mistakes here. Yeah, I'd say that's looking pretty good there. Wait, no, we don't have any streams up yet. Oh, none of them are cropped. Hold on. I knew I was forgetting something. Give me a sec here. We'll start the race very shortly here, folks.
I haven't checked. How many runners do we have?
Sitting in the race room, we have 28 people who appear ready to play the race.
Sweet.
Yeah, so last year we had 17, so that's quite an increase in the turnout, it sounds like. Very, very nice. Yeah, so it looks like we have a couple people from different communities coming in. Obviously, we've got some of the top glitchless runners in this race. We have quite a few people who I don't think run glitchless very often, but are very active in other areas of MM speedrunning. And then we got a couple MM rando runners here as well. A couple of names I recognize from Season 4. And apparently there's some Mario runners. I don't really know SM64 that well, but yeah, shout out to anybody coming in from different communities who are here to play some cool MM glitchless. Oddman and Claire, nice. I'll make sure to have them on the restream at some point. And we're just waiting for it looks like one more person, and then we'll get started here. All right, Ranger. All right. There we go. Race will be starting in 15 seconds. And we're off. All right, so MM Glitchless, if you are unfamiliar, the goal is to beat the game, defeat Majora without doing any glitches. Seems pretty straightforward. Obviously, with a game as storied and intricate as Majora's Mask, there's obviously a lot of stuff that may be seen as gray area, kind of something that may, to some people, might look like a glitch, to other people is totally fine. So just off the bat, a couple of these things are damage boosts, totally chill. Damage boosts are allowed. Using a bomb to push you over a wall, that is considered fair game for glitchless. Certain strategies that you may see in other categories, such as recoil flips, are not allowed. Any sort of like increase in your speed due to a bomb explosion, shielding a bomb explosion, or using it to propel you like a long jump, that's no good in a category like this. Should also take into account stuff like Lullaby Skip. For a time, there was a trick that was called Glitchless Lullaby Skip. That was extremely difficult, only something that top runners could do, but saved a ridiculous amount of time. And after a couple of years, some runners took a look at it and determined, oh, okay, well, what's happening here actually does fit the bill of what's considered a glitch in the game, so we're going to ban it. And so now this category does, in fact, get Lullaby. So unfortunately, it was a really cool trick, saved a lot of time, but it was also really difficult. So the accessibility of the category went up at the cost of maybe saving a couple minutes for the top level runners. Yeah, Gray Area Temple, my favorite dungeon in the game. Right now we have Jess, sample name, Tread Person, and Key on the stream. Jess is the current world record holder and the only runner to have achieved sub 240 time, and is by 2 seconds. Literally a 2:39.58 is the world record. Tread Person had the record for a very long time. He is somebody who is one of the most storied, and he's been running MM for years and years and years now. And he held the record pretty consistently, along with another runner, Ragan, who we'll see later on. Samp, I think, hasn't run Glitchless consistently in a long time. I think his PB's from like 5 years ago or something like that. But a 2:53 from 5 years ago is very, very good. Like, that's a very respectable time. And then Key is, I think, somewhat of a newer runner, but they are 6th place on the leaderboard with a 2:45. So very, very, respectable time as well. And we will be swapping between runners in this race throughout. So I think I'm gonna leave it on these four for at least first cycle and like a little bit. Probably we'll see them all get to Deku Palace, and then we'll swap around and see where other people are at. Just want to make sure I feature as many people as we can. We are very, very slowly getting to the first bit of actual gameplay that isn't just mashing through text. If you're familiar with Majora's Mask speedrunning at all, you know that basically every category begins with first cycle, which is 20 or so minutes of essentially getting through the first cycle as Deku. Recently, a couple categories have the luxury of doing some cool stuff, such as skipping, becoming human in first cycle, and being able to do a little bit more. But of course, this is glitchless, so there's none of that. We're just going to do first cycle as intended for the most part. And by as intended, I mean we're still going to skip a lot of stuff. We've got, obviously the Moons tier is like the big bottleneck for what you would do in a casual playthrough, and with the use of a glitchless technique called a gainer, we don't need to get that at all. We can just skip right to the clock tower. So the name of the game once we get to Clock Town is just get to night 3 as soon as possible, get magic, get a bomb bag, and then just chill out. And I guess the only real bit of variance that you'll see is how people collect rupees, because optimally you get lucky rupees in the grass at the beginning. It's called intro rupees, right?
Yeah, it looks like Trev went for it and got 9 rupees at the start. I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Generally what you do is the idea is, at least for first cycle, you want to make sure that the clock is passing time as much as possible. So anything like loading zones, opening doors, opening chests, any of that is time spent when the clock is not moving. So it is considered time loss. So anything you can do to mitigate that sort of thing is generally good. So stuff like, the beginner route would just grab the 100 rupees from the inn chest in night 3. And obviously that's a very easy, consistent way of getting money, but you are spending time opening 2 doors, 4 in total, going in and out of the inn, plus going into the knife chamber. Or excuse me, not the knife chamber, the staff room. And then you're also spending time opening the chest and mashing through that text. So that's all time that you're losing just because the clock is running, or clock is not running. So optimally, top runners will try to get as many rupees as they can from stuff like the grass. At the beginning, you see there's the patch of grass to the left of the door here, as well as the grass in the intro, as Fox said. And then there's other stuff, like you can get rupees from the Keaton grass in North Clocktown. There's the target spots in East Clocktown above Honey Darling that have consistent rupees. There's even rupees that you can shoot a bubble at right at the clock tower, like the little like spinning clock above the platform to get a couple extra rupees if you're just a little short. Yeah, make sure to share the luck, guys. Don't be greedy here. Okay, so it looks like Jess and Key both just got 3 rupees from the Keaton grass, and then that's it. That's all they're gonna need, I suppose. Yeah, Trev seems to be collecting more rupees here. Up to 16. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good amount, but I'll have to see. I'm not familiar with the rupee route that Jess is doing. Jess and Key are both doing. And it looks like Samp is probably just going to get the in rupees, which, as I said, it's a little bit slower, but it's fairly consistent. Like, you don't have to rely on rupee luck. And when you do get to a top level, you are at the point where you're resetting your run to rupee luck. So I think Samp is just saying, I'm not even going to bother. Like, let's just keep it consistent, keep it clean, and then we'll hopefully get a decent first cycle time.
In the meantime, we just saw a little text skip where Tattle tries to talk to you before you get to that flower, but you can side hop into the flower and just.
I'm gonna see Trev do it right here. Yeah, Trev got it as well. Yeah, it's a nice little time save there. I believe there's also a way you can set up like a backwalk and then jump off the ledge and just jump the gap, grab the ledge.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say out loud right here, you can do that and you can skip the Tattle text at the same time, except it's task only. Don't ever try it.
Oh, it's task only? Okay.
Yep, it's task only. It's way too hard. It's way more precise than anyone could possibly know.
And of course, this is glitchless, so we are not saving 40 seconds by doing HMS skip. We are talking to the man. Yeah, the jump itself isn't task, but I assume like doing the jump with the Tattle text skip is just insanely precise.
Yes, that's what I mean. Doing the jump with the Tattle text skip is insanely precise. It's not even funny.
Dude, I'm looking at Trev's input display and the way he mashes text. So, like, optimally in this game, you can mash text by pressing A, B, or C up. And so the way Trev is doing it is mashing A and B and then just, like, slamming his C stick up and down, which I've never seen somebody do it specifically like that. Usually I just see people press C up, reset to neutral, and just do that over and over. But he's, like, thumb on the C stick, just slamming it both ways. I think it's pretty funny. Myself, I am a wee little first-time player, only mashing A and B, because I'm old and my hands hurt. But yeah, as I said, the goal here in first cycle is just get to night 3 as soon as possible. Anytime that you're not on night 3 is just time wasted, so we go to the grandma right away. She's going to bring us to day 3, and then we can head over to the Scarecrow in West Clocktown, and he can play his song and get us to night 3. And from there, we can actually start doing a little bit of gameplay.
Yeah, so this has been the standard for so long. So it just skips 2 transitions as well. So it's like, it's just way faster than anything else you could do.
Yeah. And like, you could just do it the Scarecrow alone, but because you have to watch his dance every time, and as you mentioned, it's 2 extra transitions, it's just way faster to go to East Clocktown first.
Yeah, it would be 4 extra transitions, so it's just way faster.
Yeah. And of course, one change from Ocarina of Time is that a lot of NPCs now have fast text, and with that comes some advanced mashing strategies where you press B once, and then you switch to pressing C up and A, because once you've activated like the fast text flow, pressing B actually lags the text, which is like why does that happen? What a weird game.
Yeah, so in both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, if you just mash B at 20 hertz, so like 20 times a second, you will delay a text that has fast text like that.
That's hilarious. I'm pretty sure in MM it's like Tattle has like the same slow text that most of Ocarina of Time has, and then basically every other NPC. I don't want to say every single one, but most of them just have fast text, which is pretty nice. I guess the Happy Mask Salesman as well has slow text, but that's like more cutscene based. Samp's just running around in circles, just trying to remember how to run this game. Yeah, so it looks like Jess here went to, so what he did is he went to West Clocktown. And then generally what like a beginner route would do is after making it night 3, you would go straight to East Clocktown, get the stray ferry, and then go to North Clocktown and get a get magic. But Jess went to North Clocktown first, and that is an extra transition, but it allows him to get extra Keaton grass very, very quickly. We see he's already up to 23 rupees, so should be doing pretty well on this intro cycle rupee routing.
Yeah, it looks like he has done the same route.
Yeah, Key is doing the exact same route, whereas Trev has been doing a little bit differently, went for more rupees during the intro, but should amount to about the same thing. And I do want to make it clear, going for this rupee route, like going through all the different clock towns to save time by not opening the in chest, is like you have to have like pretty clean execution in be able to get all the rupees and then make it to the clock tower before midnight. Like it's not as trivial as it looks, just like going through and getting rupees at your own casual pace. Like you need to be a really good runner in order to make it actually faster.
And on top of that, the other thing is the I don't know if they're doing the Honey and Darling spots for the groupies, but if they are, those are very annoying.
Yeah, because what they can, it's random the way the rupees fall out. So what can happen is some of the rupees just land on top of the basket or on top of the targets, and it's just like there's nothing you do. We'll see it here from Jess. You see, you got pretty lucky with almost all the rupees falling down there, but it is like you're at the whim of RNG. Yeah, you can see 3 rupees just chilling there on top.
Like 38 is enough.
Yeah.
So I can do one more round with the Keaton bushes, and then
yeah, it's like Key's gonna be one short. Yeah, it's unfortunate luck for Key, but hopefully he can back this up. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's 3 rupees you can get here from the clock tower that all fall fairly consistently. Yeah, so Jess is at an even 50 now. And it looks like Trev is also, like, we saw some different rupee ratings between Jess, Key, and Trev. But they all end up with 50 at about the same time. So this goes to show that there are multiple good routes for the beginning that all work out to about the same. It looks like Sam. Just Sam remembering how to do gainers. Yeah, it's one of those things that like gainers just kind of are one of those things that get built into your muscle memory as you play the game more consistently. But if you don't do it for a long amount of time, it can be a little difficult to get that back. But got a lot of in-game time, so he should be able to get this eventually. Oh, is he going for a weird strat? Okay, he's probably just trying to flex. Yeah, okay. Gets up there.
Yeah, I don't know the exact like time differences for these. It's like if you can get the rupee route, it does save a little bit. It might just be a few seconds, but in a
Yeah,
category like this, that's very optimized at this point. Seconds like that matter.
certainly. While these guys are all in the cutscene here, I'm just gonna refresh everybody so that we're all in the same, because it does look like, at least on my side, there's a bit of a delay going on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks like we're all roughly at about the same point. Jess getting an early lead here. Yeah, it looks like Jess, then Samp, and then Key, and then Trev. Yeah, I agree, Jess. It's cool that we got to see all the different rupee routes between Samp doing the in rupees, Jess and Key going for, I guess, the advanced intro rupees, and then Trev doing the, I believe that's an older rupee route, but I could be wrong.
So, to explain why we want the bomb bag, it's actually real. Like, despite like if you've seen like other categories where you get bombs, um, explosives later, we just want bombs to be able to go to snow it in a bit, and then to use damage boosts pretty soon and everything. So we don't need like choose or anything just yet. So it's just faster to get it in first cycle than it is elsewhere. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna take way more time to get bombs later.
There's kind of an idea that, like, because you're waiting for midnight anyway, like anything that we can do during this time will save time in the route overall. So getting rupees and then buying the bomb bag is going to be faster if we can do it in the intermittent time between 6 p.m. and midnight, right? As opposed to if you were doing it in second cycle, you'd be wasting time that you would otherwise be, just doing the speed run. So it makes sense to get the bomb bag right now. It does mean that you are a bit at the whim of RNG in second cycle. There's kind of this grass spot as soon as you enter Terminal Field that you try to farm a bomb drop. But even if you don't get, like you said, like even if you don't get a bomb drop, like it's still faster to do it that way, and then just do stuff like Deco Palace normally, even if you don't get bombs. And yeah, so everybody's playing the Song of Time now. We are out of first cycle. Very, very nice. And yeah, so just clarifying a little bit here. The rupee route that Trev did is like optimally it is the fastest route. However, it means that you are more at the whim of RNG than you would be otherwise. What Key and Jess did is more consistent, saves 9 seconds over in rupees. So you could think of that as a more like race safe route, which I assume is why Jess and Key went for it. But Trev was just trying to go for highly optimal strats as best he could.
So here we're getting the fire healing and deck and mass. We're gonna get one more thing after this, and we're gonna just hit the South Clocktown Owl, and then we're gonna head out to Terma Field afterward, and then we're gonna really begin. And shortly, we're gonna see how the bomb RNG is gonna be for our runners.
Yeah, I think optimally you get 2 bomb drops in the first grass patch. You can get away with 1. You can get away with 0 even, but like ideally you get 2. Dude, Jess is in chat. I mean, look at this high octane gameplay that's going on in his stream right now. He's just such a gamer that he can type in chat and do all of this crazy execution that's going on right now, like mashing through text and watching cutscenes. Yeah, so I guess we can start to explain the kind of the big crux bottleneck, if you will, for the first part of this cycle, which is we need the horse. And the reason we need the horse is so that we can get the Garo mask, so that we can get up to Icona. And there is a hard cutoff of getting the horse at 6 p.m. And then Garo mask, I mean, technically you can get away with getting Garo mask on day 2, but like ideally you get the horse and you get Garo mask all before 6 p.m. on day 1. Which means you need to get all the way to Snowhead, get the fire arrows, and then bring the keg to the Goron racetrack and blow it up. Those are the bare minimum requirements, but ideally, if you're actually like playing as well as you can, you go all the way to Woodfall, you get the bow, you get the boss key, you leave, you go to Snowhead, you do all the stuff in Snowhead there, you beat the dungeon, then you blow up the Goron racetrack, you do Goron race, get the gold dust bottle, and then you get the keg license, all before 6 p.m. so that you can get Garo mask. It sounds like a lot. However, if you are practiced, it's actually a little bit more lenient than you might think. And there's certain things you can do to, like, if you're low on time, there's stuff you can skip. Like, you don't have to get Woodfall boss key. You technically don't even have to beat Snowhead. You can just get the fire arrows and then get the keg license there. But, like, ideally, it's way faster to just do Snowhead all in one go. And then Goron race as well. You don't technically need to do it right away. Especially if you're a beginner, you can back that up fairly easily. Oh,
yeah, man. So, importantly, the reason why this really works out is because the inverted Song of Time, we're going to see that played at some point. We're going to probably wait a bit to play it because our top runners know how to play this really well. And that will triple the amount of time you have. So it goes from like, for this 12-hour period, it will be like 9-ish minutes, and it'll go over up to 27 minutes from this point to the end. It's so much so that the Glitchless 100% category can do all the stuff we talked about already and get all the fairies in Snowhead Temple and the Don Garrow's mask before getting Epona and Garrow's mask. And it's wild. It's wild. That's how well you can play it. And yeah. Looks like just not get a bomb drop.
Yeah, but he's fine. As I said, you don't need the bomb drop, it's just optimal you get bombs in this first grass patch. Neither does Samp. Neither does Key. I didn't see. I guess Trev
got a bomb drop.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Only one person got a bomb drop. Oh gosh.
1 out of 4. That's really unlucky.
Yeah.
Trev got 2. Damn, the double firsties, man. Yeah. What a gamer. Just goes to show you, just the high octane gameplay of Trev Goat over here.
And this is the last big cutscene for a while.
Yeah.
This cutscene takes over 2 minutes to watch.
Yeah, there's a decent portion of it where there's just no inputs. So. And yeah, the reason why you might think they have the hard cutoff of 6 p.m. Why wouldn't they just invert right away? And the reason why you don't want to do that is the route optimally also does aliens to get the bottle. And in order to do aliens without it taking a million years, you have to manage your in-game time all the way to approximately 3:30 a.m. And in order to do that, there's a couple extra time cutoffs you have to account for. So ideally, you're getting Garo Mask right before 6 p.m. and then you uninvert around between then and somewhere in Great Bay Coast, in order to be able to make it do all the stuff you do in night 1, and then make it to aliens just in time for the first wave to arrive at the barn. And that way, you only have to clear 2 waves of aliens, and it's extremely fast for getting that 3rd bottle. If you're not routing aliens efficiently, then the 2 bottle route might be an alternative for you. And I think because like obviously optimally you get 3 bottles, but if you do a comparison, 2 bottle eggs is not that much slower than the 3 bottle route, all things considered. So it is something to consider if you are picking up this category.
Also, there is a beginner route where you do play Song of Time to have more time to get Epona.
I think that's you play Song of Time after hitting the Woodfall Owl, if I'm not mistaken. It's either that or Lens of Truth. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact details of it.
I think Jess is probably going to be inverting fairly soon here. When I was watching him, I think he inverted like right around this point in Swamp. Yeah, none of the runners on stream have inverted yet. Yeah, should be coming in pretty soon. Yeah, it's in a way it's kind of this game of chicken that you're playing with the in-game time. But coming up here in just a little bit, once we get the bottle is, obviously this is the fastest bottle to get in the game. But once you do that, there is a skip called Big Octo Skip. We'll see who goes for it. I believe it's not like a new trick or anything, but it's like, in the context of Glitchless, there was a time that even I remember when people weren't doing Big Octo Skip. Like, I remember when Jess was starting to pick up this category, we would do races, and I knew how to do Big Octo Skip before he learned it. So, like, obviously his execution's way better than mine, so he would get ahead, and then I would do Big Octo Skip. And then within, like, a minute or two, he would catch up again, just because he's so good at the game, and I'm not. But now, obviously, he's the Glitchless GOAT. He knows how to do it as good as anybody else.
So that's the first bottle we pick up. We kind of needed to get the other bottles anyway. Yeah. So coming up later, even with Big Octo Skip, we still need that bottle to get the Goron Lullaby. So.
All right, here's the invert from Jess. Stamp already inverted back in Woods of Mystery. I'd have to imagine, yeah, Trev also inverted, and then here's it from Key. So we're all inverted now. And yeah, let's take a look at Jess here. See what he runs for how he does Big Octo Skip. Go. All right, so that is good enough to get the trick. As long as you get up top on that rock, then you have successfully done the trick. Optimally, you don't get swallowed by the Octo. You just land on top, and then you jump back into the water and void out. So a little bit slower what Jess had here, but he's able to get it, and that's all you got to do for Big Octo Skip. And yeah, so Key there in the bottom right got the optimal thing, which is to just land on top of the rock and then just fall without getting grabbed in the Big Octo. But it is a little bit precise, so. Indeed, that was a pretty hard move, wasn't it? All right, and it looks like all of our runners have successfully done Big Octo Skip. And we'll move on to Deku Palace. With that. So Jess didn't get any bomb drops, so I think Trev is the only one who will be able to see damage boost strats from. The rest will have to navigate the maze normally. Not that it, loses that much time, but it is obviously slower. Yeah, we see the first damage boost there from Trev.
Right,
and then, good.
We just picked up a bunch of rupees on the way too, so we needed 40 because we're gonna pick up all 5. We're going to pick up 5 beans for Beneath the Well later.
Yeah. Good job, by the way, referring to it by its canonical proper name. Beneath the Well, not Bottom of the Well. This is not Ocarina of Time. A different region entirely. But yes, in order to do all of this in a single cycle, we need to make sure that the well doesn't take a million years. And one of the steps in doing that is getting the beans right now. the 5 beans for the beginning of the well. There's other steps that we do in order to make sure that we are adequately prepared for well. But we'll get to that later. And yeah, that's that movement there from Jess is the other little bit you have to do if you don't get a bomb drop. But there's the door frame jump, which is a nice little strategy, a really hard move, if you will, that skips most of the intended route from Deku Palace. And even without the bomb drop, he can still get the early cycle here for clipping up to the ledge, and he is on to Sonata. And yeah, Trev was the only one who was able to do the damage boost trap, but unfortunately just a little bit late for the ledge clip.
Yeah, the ledge said no for Trev. Sam got caught. That's a time loss.
I'm going to swap runners here. We'll get Dragon, Morpheus, Truly, and Matt the Link. Yeah, let's do that. All right, we're going to do a swap. We're going to take a look at see what some of the other runners in the race are doing. Assume many of them will be hopefully around the same point. Give me a sec here. Not picking up Dragon's stream. Give me a sec.
It's like Matt and Morpheus are at Sonata as well.
Yep. The infamous minute-long black. Yeah, he's ahead of everybody else. All right. Doesn't look like Dragon's stream is working, so let's go ahead and swap to my man Blaze. Hopefully. Please. There we go.
So yeah, here's another trick to just jump up to that spot, and that skips having to go all the way around, and it saves quite a bit of time. And then we're getting the Song of Soaring, just so we can warp back later to get the clock down.
Yep, Song of Soaring, obviously very important for jumping around all over the place. Just, sorry, updating some cropping here. Boy. Let me hit a little refresh. Sorry about this, guys.
Should I refresh?
I'm going to try to refresh the actual streams here. Oh, looks like, there we go. Okay.
In the meantime, it looks like Truly None in our bottom left here has not inverted time, so I think we might see the beginner route that I mentioned.
Yep. Yeah, that seems to be the case, because if you're going for that, you're just going to reset partway through, then there's no sense in inverting, because it's just time loss for no reason, because the point of the beginner route is that you don't have any sort of time restrictions in the first cycle. Yeah, they all seem to be still around the same point, heading towards the Woodfall Temple. Okay, Matt the Link getting the stick drop there. The Deku Scrubs here can randomly drop either a stick or a nut. If you are in Deku form and you get a nut drop for the first time, then it is forced slow text for some reason. I don't know why, but it's really annoying to get the nut as Deku, and then you just waste a bunch of time looking at text boxes. But you do want to grab nuts here. Again, this is another step in preparing for the well. And there's a consistent 10 nut drop in one of the pots here. So what you do is you turn human, and then you get the nut drop there, and then for whatever reason the text is faster.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah, this is a 10 Deku Nut pot over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also another stick.
Yeah. So, sticks are important. If you are playing on the Japanese version, then you are able to have power crouch stab, which is essentially your crouch stab takes on the damage value of the most recent move that you used. If you're playing on English, then this was patched out, so it doesn't matter. But stick jump slashes do 4 damage. That's very, very valuable to have on your crouch stab. So it's one of the reasons why Glitchless is played on Japanese. It's not the only reason, but it certainly is a huge help.
In the meantime, Matt did another time save strat in the first room of Woodfall Temple. So you can just backflip onto that ledge on the far left. It's got a slightly picky angle, but if you do it, just skips using 2 flowers, which saves like 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to set up the angle. And yeah, Deku flower movement is extremely slow. So anything you can do to avoid that is generally a good thing. And yeah, we'll have to do. There's not really anything you can do in Glitchless to speed up the quote-unquote intended route of Woodfall until you get to the second floor. So we just have to do the first floor kind of normally. There is a neat strat in this room, though, which is normally you're intended to push the block to give yourself a faster path. But if you're good enough, you can just do this movement that Matt's doing right now. And you can light the torch without having to move the block at all. Yeah. And you get all the way to second floor. This room, where you have to light the torches, you have to do mostly normally as well. But the next room, there's a cool jump slash recoil strat that you can do. And it saves doing a bunch of Deku flower movement, which, as we discussed just a couple seconds ago, is a lot slower. So we'll see Matt do it. There's a couple ways you can set this up. I think the most consistent way, yeah, going over to this hole over here and then just cranking a jump slash. Look at that. Land on the second floor, no problem at all. And yeah, so Matt here is going to do some movement that requires a Deku jump slash, and this conveniently stores that jump slash on your crouch stab, so we should be able to one-shot this boss here.
Conveniently, this mini-boss has 4 HP and stick jump slashes do 4.
Yep. Now, as long as he plays nice and you can get a solid hit in, that's all you need to do. And yep, so this is the bow. This is the item that bottlenecks access to the north, so this is one of the steps required in getting to Epona. And then ideally, you do have enough time to do this. You can get the boss key as well before you leave, and then you never have to come back to this room. There's a couple of reasons why we don't do Woodfall all in one trip. Obviously, we've seen with the amount of time the runners delay inverting, like it is very, very possible to beat all of Woodfall and still have time for Epona. But what you have to account for is if you beat Woodfall first, there is an extra 40 seconds of cutscene after you beat the dungeon where Tattle talks to you and like apologizes for being a big meanie head. And it just so happens that leaving the dungeon, soaring out, and then beating Snowhead first is a little bit faster than watching that extra cutscene. And plus, you have the if you go back to Woodfall later, you can do the last couple of rooms with the hookshot, which does save a lot of time as well. So it does average out. It's not as fast as you might imagine it being, skipping 40 seconds, but it does still end up being the optimal way to do the dungeons.
Yeah, so it's optimal to death warp from, like, we're setting up the death warp here.
Yeah, pay attention to Matt's health here. He's at half a heart. And what he's going to do is he's going to grab the boss key. He's going to drop a bomb and then grab the boss key. And the bomb's going to explode right after the cutscene, and there's a couple ways you can set this up where... Oh, he bonked at the chest. I don't know if this is still going to work, but ideally, you die right after you get the boss key, and what this does is it causes the game over music to not play, and you save a couple extra seconds because like the fade out happens right away. Unfortunately, he bonked on the chest, so he wasn't able to get the timing right, but still, death warping here is much faster than soaring out.
Yeah, that extra time from the not hearing the game over music is the big save from it. Like,
yeah. And we might see this on Morpheus's side if he can get the timing correctly. Oh, Blaze as well. Yeah, so Blaze got the timing correct, and look at how fast the fade out. It's like right after Link falls down.
So now it's time to go up to the Snowhead area.
Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned earlier, the goal here, ideally, you do Snowhead all in one trip. You never come back here. So what we need to do is get the Lens of Truth, get the Goron Mask, get the Lullaby intro, complete the Lullaby, go up to Snowhead, get the Fire Arrows, beat the dungeon, blow up the rock to the Goron racetrack, get the Gold Dust bottle, and then get the keg license. Doing that all in one trip sounds like a lot, but thankfully it is still pretty fast, especially with the amount of in-game time that the runners have allowed themselves to have. One thing to keep in mind, if you're somewhat new to Majora's Mask, you might not know this, but an easy way to tell if a runner is inverted is you look at the diamond on the clock where it says first. If the diamond is colored blue, then that means you're inverted, and if it's colored green, it means you're uninverted. So you can see that right now Blaze, Morpheus, and Matt all have the blue diamond, which means they're inverted. Truly has a green diamond you should be able to see in just a sec once the soaring cutscene is over. I went an embarrassingly long time playing Majora's Mask before I learned that the color of the diamond indicated if you're inverted or not.
I think it is kind of small so I think it can be overlooked. Yeah. A bit of lore while our runners are doing kind of difficult movement getting to the lens. This is not easy movement.
Yeah, definitely not.
So that boss key route. There were actually a couple competing routes before that boss key death warp idea was put in, where one route would go get the hook shot from Pirate's Fortress before finishing and doing Snowhead Temple. And that, because of the way routing for aliens worked, it was never like really worth it. After the boss key death warp was found, because they were like fairly close before that boss key death warp, but after the boss key death warp, this route is and just straight up faster.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, because you might think like we do get Epona in this route, and you might just look at it and say, okay, yeah, you need Epona to cross the fences to get into Great Bay and into Icona. But as I mentioned at the beginning, damage boosts are allowed, so you can go to Great Bay and Icona basically as soon as you get Goron Mask. But the big thing that we do need Epona for, we hard need Epona for, is Garo Mask, which allows us to get all the way up to Icona Canyon. That part we can't skip, so that's why we need Epona. But as Fox mentioned, we do have the option of going to Great Bay and getting the hookshot as soon as we get Goron Mask. I think Hookshot does save like a little bit of time in Snowhead Temple.
It does. That's why it was considered. It's just with the boss key death warp, it wasn't worth it after that point.
Yeah, just because all the extra overhead you need to do. I don't think Zora really matters for Snowhead Temple. At least if you have hookshot, then like Zora doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, the real awkward part was the aliens routing. That boss key Death Lord messes up with the aliens routing with that old route, if I recall correctly. And in the meantime, a run or matching lens button. If you do that, it doesn't drain magic.
Right.
So it's just a little quirk. Even though that snowball right there does have a full magic pot, so that would just fill your magic right back up. It's just silly. Looks like I thought Morpheus was gonna just not do it. I was like, oh. You can climb up here without lens. It's just you need the lens to actually see Darmani to play Song of Healing to him to get Goron. That's a hard requirement.
That's something that I think rando players are pretty intimately familiar with is the lensless climb here. But yeah, as you mentioned, the lens is hard required to actually get the Goron mask, so we can't skip it. At least not in this category. Wouldn't it be wild if it's like, what else do you need the Goron mask for once you're done here? I guess there's like you need to throw a keg in Castle,
and then to get the hook shot.
Yeah, get the hook shot. Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple things you need, but pretty easy to see in other categories when we throw glitches into the mix. That Goron mask skip is fairly easy.
And then the LOG maze and Stone Tower Temple.
Yeah, that's true as well. I'm sure there's other stuff too, like little stuff that matters, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. We have the Goron mask. Go ahead.
Yeah, what matters most though is that Goron is very fast.
Yes, if you don't have access to movement techniques, yeah.
Goron's roll is 15.8 normally without using the spikes. Looks like Matt did not get the little trick that I would talk about in a bit, but the spike roll, if you know about like glitches with bombs like Hess's, super slides, and all that in these games, the Goron spike roll is that speed going forward. So you want to use Goron as much as possible for movement.
Yeah.
And one other thing with movement with Goron is that normally if you just like hold forward on like sand or like ice or snow, you don't like get the like regular speed boost with your Goron roll. Right. But if you like hold back a bit on your control stick and then go, and then start holding forward a little bit after, you can get the optimal Goron speed on snow or sand or ice or anything, and it saves time every time you do it.
Yeah, I believe optimally it saves a second over just holding forward the whole way.
Yeah,
and that's 1 second per Goron roll, so it's like very useful, especially because when you're in a spot like Snowhead and then in Great Bay Coast where there's snow and sand, it just makes sense to do it every single time.
Regarding the rep, we did go and talk to the Goron baby. You have to talk to the Goron baby before you get to the Goron Elder here. It is a little picky on the timing to have that hot spring water going in this route, but it's faster to do it this way.
Yeah.
So just with good movement, you should be able to do it every time.
We saw Truly do it a little differently, where he opened up the Goron Shrine as human and talked to the baby that way. And that way you have a lot less strict timing on hot spring water because you can just go straight to the Goron Elder. But yeah, as you mentioned, with optimal movement, you can get the hot spring water, talk to the baby, and then make it back to the Goron Elder fairly consistently. And yeah, that's a little bit of a time save there, is dropping the hot spring water and then breaking the snowball. Because the heat effect of the hot spring water lingers for a little bit after you drop it. Yeah, we got triple lullaby intro cutscene here happening. Love that. I think I might go ahead and swap the runners. I might do a swap every 20 minutes if that's chill with all you guys. Let me see if I can get... All right, here we go. I know what I'll do. All right, we're going to do Green Cola, Just Sam, FaZe, and Wispy. And you know exactly what I'm going for here. We've got some MMR runners on the stream now. Rando stream moment. Oh no, Just Sam is black screen.
Oh no.
Give me a sec here. It might take a little bit to pick him up. Yeah, I wonder why that is. Didn't work with Dragon either. Just make sure that his stream's actually up here. Oh, just Sam. Oh, okay, Sam dropped out of the race. Okay, I should have looked at the race stream. My bad.
Oh, dang. That sucks.
Can I get... All right, but my dream of having all rando runners can be lived, because I see another rando runner here in Name Faker. You're up here, bud. There we go. Now we got all the runners on. All right, so they're about the same point. Looks like they're also doing this whole lullaby sequence here. And yeah, we should be making up the Snowhead fairly soon here. Dude, Blaze, or excuse me, FaZe, his stream is like super bloomed out. This looks like a Gears of War game. Okay, go ahead and fix some cropping here. But yeah, just a little bit of context history between these players. Green Cola is a fairly new runner, I believe. Only started playing MM in the last year or so. Name Faker, I believe, is FaZe's prodigy. FaZe has been teaching him how to play the game over the last little while, both rando and speedrunning. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Name Faker is had his PB a month ago. It is a 3-hour 33-second time, so very close to a sub 3, and 33rd place. So a lot of threes there. Right above number 34th on the list, some scrub named Vidya James. Does Green Cola have a PB here? Trying to look, I don't see his name, but seems to be about pace with the rest of the runners here. Wispy's going up to get Goron Mask right now, and FaZe, the Season 1 champion of MMR. It's quite a title to have, and I believe FaZe's PB is around a 258. Yeah, he has a 258. So sub 3 club. Or FaZe, dude, the snow is so white on FaZe's stream. It's so funny. But yeah, him and Name Faker are like, Name Faker and Green Cola, these guys are all in Path to Snowhead all at the same time. Quite nice little sync. Green Cola is 51st. Yes, there you are. 52nd on my screen. Looks like somebody else got a good time, but there you go. He's got a PB on the board.
So yeah, Snowhead is going to be our first completed dungeon, since we're splitting Woodfall Temple into 2 visits. So Snowhead Temple is, I think it's medium difficulty. It's not an easy dungeon. So. there are a lot of strats that save time, and there's a lot of places because it's just such a vertical up like a vertically high up dungeon. There's a lot of places where you can fall, and then you have to void out to get back, and each one of those costs 15 seconds or something.
Right.
So you want to have good movement and everything, and you also don't want to fall doing the strats that some of them will have you fall if you mess up. So
right.
Yeah, with good execution that doesn't happen, but a lot of these strats can be tricky.
If you have if you're familiar with the casual way to do this dungeon, there's a big pillar in the central room that you're supposed to raise up and then use that to make it to the highest parts of the dungeon. In a speedrun context, even glitchlessly, you can skip raising that pillar entirely, and that's optimally what you do. However, there's a couple of strats you need to know in order to be able to do that. But the first half of this dungeon, getting up to fire arrows, has what I believe to be the most difficult part of the dungeon, which is the damage boosts, the Goron damage boosts that are a lot more precise than they really appear to be. They're pretty frame tight, and one of them you have a bunch of enemies coming at you, so it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world. And then once you get the... Sorry.
I think that one has a 2-frame window, right?
2-frame, okay. Right. It's a 2-frame window, and you also have to uncurl at the right time, which is, I think, a little bit more lenient, but still, it's not the easiest thing in the world. We're seeing Namefaker come up to FaZe doing the first one right here. Nails it pretty quickly.
Yeah, so that damage boost skips a key, and that's one of the biggest time saves in the temple without having hookshot.
Yeah. And then here in this room we see FaZe doing now. There's a little bit of a tricky jump you can do in order to get up here. Just running off the ledge and getting a jump while still being able to get the ledge grab. You can also do a gainer there, but that's a little bit easier, the strat that FaZe did. And then this room, this is a puzzle room that takes a long time if you do it normally, so FaZe is going to set up the second damage boost. And this is the one that I think, this is the hardest part of Snowhead right here. Because the timing is precise, as we said before, and you also have these enemies that can come and blow up the bomb or also just hit you. And it's just annoying to get the timing correct.
Yeah, the white bows can be a real problem there.
FaZe gets it second try, so no trouble at all. And then FaZe is going to do a Goron roll setup here to skip jumping some gaps and makes it over to the Wizrobe room fairly simply. And yeah, so the second part of the dungeon, there's a strat you need to know called Tunnel Jump, which is the main thing that lets you skip raising the pillar. Of course, you have to do it twice, and you have to do it from two different angles, so there's 2 different setups for it, but it's something that you can practice and get fairly consistent at with just a little bit of time. Green Cola is at half a heart here, so he's going to have to find some health or just do the room normally. That's a little unfortunate, but it can happen if you mess up the damage boost enough.
Yeah, we're on 3 hearts here, so you literally, if you run out of health, it's kind of not good.
Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages of having not doing Woodfall or not clearing Woodfall on your first visit is you don't get the access to that heart container. So a little less beginner friendly, but there's ways to back it up.
Another thing we didn't mention was during the Wizrobe fight, there's a quick kill where on the last frame before the cutscene starts, the Wizrobe is vulnerable to any damage, and that will allow you to hit him multiple times before the cutscene starts for the second phase.
Yep.
And that just ends up skipping it. That's going to be relevant once again for the second half of the dungeon because it's not just one, but there are 2 Wizrobes.
Yep. And the second one, the boss arena is spread out a little bit more, so it can be a little bit more difficult to get the timing right for those.
Yeah, the second one, like if you get unlucky, it's gonna be at like the far back of the arena. It's like I completely missed that the cutscene skip there, and then like the cutscene starts on like near the like the closest spot to the boss door, and then it can just spawn like on the very far end of the arena, and that's a much bigger arena as you're gonna see. Yeah. So hope that doesn't happen.
We see it on phases. What I usually like to do is if I see Wizard spawn all the way on the other side, is I actually just force him to despawn and then just make him go somewhere closer. So this is good for Phase actually because he spawns here first, which means he's not going to spawn here the second time. So you can manipulate Wizard. It's still, that's a little unlucky for Phase, but he should still have enough time to make it here for the cutscene skip. Okay, it was just a tiny bit early on the pound, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was a little too early, unfortunately.
I think FaZe handled that as best he could, but he's right behind you, FaZe. No. Yeah, this will give Namefaker a little bit of time to catch up here. Still a lot of speedrun left, but these little things are the things that add up here. Alright, so Namefaker gets the first cutscene skip, and then the second one here is fairly easy to set up. There's a couple different ways you can set up the timing. The main strat that I see most people do is as soon as the Wizard starts spawning, you just start mashing B, and then the third hit of the Goron Punch combo will... It has enough active frames that it's lenient enough to get the cutscene skip fairly consistently.
Yeah, I think the first person who really did that was SVA.
Mm-hmm. Legendary runner. I know Trev person just would time punches, which like there is a visual cue for how Wizard spawns to time that, but I think that's a little bit less lenient than the combo strat. Yeah, we'll see. Namefaker is going to be the first one on stream to make it to GOAT. So we'll see what the the GOAT quick kill strat, which I think most runners are doing nowadays. Doing GOAT the quote unquote casual way is extremely slow. So this is one of the first things you have to learn in order to improve your time. I should say an essential strat for Glitchless.
Yeah, so the best strat is to get in this one specific spot where you are able to shoot GOAT, but GOAT doesn't shoot back at you. Mm-hmm. And if you can manipulate GOAT to fire, and that will reset his... Basically, he's on a timer.
Yeah.
And after a set amount of time, he's going to charge. And what you want to do is have him charge such that he would show up right at this corner that you're at. And if he does so, the blue orb and the heart container are just going to be right there. Namefaker messed it up a little bit, so he's going to have to go and get to the warp. But FaZe got it, and FaZe is going to get this. As you're going to see, the heart container blue orb are going to spawn right there.
So the way GOAT works is that he has a couple of predetermined spots that he can die at. So if he's even a little bit past like the threshold for one of the spots, then he'll have to go all the way to the next one. And it just so happens that one of the spots that he can die at is like right in front of where you want to be for the setup. So optimally you manipulate GOAT to die right when he's like at that spot basically. But it can be good.
And so another like small thing that can save you time is that the closer he is to the, like there's a closest without going over with the cutscene where he dies, where if you have him as close as possible to start the cutscene, if the cutscene will be shorter. And so right. The amount of arrows you can do for the strats will affect how that goes. So like, I know like the most risky one is like 4 arrows, then side hop left and right, and then do 11. And then there's like 5 and 10. and stuff like that. Or that a lot of people do like 1, 5, 9, but 5 and 10 and like 4 and 11 are like just faster because of the whole in-depth cutscene situation.
I'm just trying to look here and find some find out where other people are in the race right now. But yeah, we are finishing up here with Snowhead. Most of the runner's side, so hopefully their in-game time is sufficient enough such that they can get a Goron race in and hopefully not get screwed by that race, because that is extremely possible. Basically, everybody who's ever run this category knows Goron race is like one of the most volatile parts of the speedrun. It's just something that, like, even if you play as good as you can, sometimes the game just says no, you don't get to win today. It's just something you have to deal with, something you have to account for. Obviously, in a race context like this, where there's no resetting, it can be a little brutal, but there's still ways to back it up.
Yeah, I think Wispy also has to do the puzzle normally because she's on quarter heart.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually another thing that well, I shouldn't say that, because you do have to, if you have the hook shot, you can just do the scarecrow skip and get up right away. But failing that, hook shot also saves time in this room. Like, you can just hook shot the crates over there and skip the entire puzzle.
One other thing that I'm going to mention is these cutscenes for like the giants that show up. The first one's always going to be the out to order. Like, they're always going to be in order based regardless of which dungeons you complete.
Right.
So, oh no, Wispy just died to the bow.
Yeah. Wispy's in-game time is looking a little hairy too, as far as getting to Epona. So may have to incorporate some sort of reset in order to accommodate for that.
Yeah, it's 4. That's.
Yeah. You can see here. Let's look at. I think right now, Namefaker probably has the best in-game time. FaZe, I think, is a little early, so he's gonna have to invert like fairly soon. Or excuse me, uninvert. I think Namefaker is a little bit more where you want your in-game time to be for this point. So I think the cutoff for being able to do Goron race, at least for the beginner route, is 4:15. If you're any later than that, then you should be doing it after you get hookshot. Yeah, doing bringing the keg over, and if you've ever watched, any Zelda 64, you know that backwalking is fairly fast. Doubly so with Goron just carrying stuff, like, because you don't have the ability to do Goron rolls. Just forward Goron movement is incredibly slow.
We didn't really cover backwalk on commentary. So backwalking goes 1.5 times your walking speed, regardless of which form you are. And so with Goron, Deku, and Zora, as we will see, that is 9 speed, and as human, it's actually slightly slower with optimal backwalking speed compared to the other forms. So sometimes, like early on, there was a point where everybody just stayed as Deku, and that was because of that like faster movement.
Shout out to ZeldaSpeedRuns for the raid here. For everyone joining us, this is the annual Community Glitchless race. We've got, I believe, 28 runners total in this race. We're going to be swapping between runners throughout the race, but right now we've got Green Cola, Namefaker, FaZe, and the real Wispy making their way through. So we're about an hour 10 into the race, so We're just coming up on everybody's favorite section of Glitchless, which is Goron Race. An extremely skill-based section of the run. Absolutely no RNG or anything that could possibly mess this up. This is 100% skill-based.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the elephant in the room with this. So the AI is rubber band. That's why this sucks.
Yeah.
The AI is absolutely rubber band, and sometimes they are really mean about it, and then sometimes you can get incredibly lucky where they all fall off on this bridge. And you would like the latter to happen, and then you really, really do need to like keep your spikes at the end and be turning on the inside here.
Yeah.
So I think FaZe is gonna. That was
looks
good.
like a win for FaZe. Nate Baker coming up in the last corner. Yeah, like you said, like this corner at the end is like where you can make up like a ton of time. I guess just to be specific, like, okay, nice body block there right at the end. Yeah, you basically want to try and block them from finishing as best you can. So the race is rubber banded in both directions. So not only will they catch up to you if you're ahead, but if you fall very far behind, it actually like is fairly easy to catch up to them towards the end of the race. So falling behind early is not as catastrophic as it may appear. But if you lose your spikes towards the end of the race, then it's pretty much over. But yeah, like we said, like there's tons of places where you can just lose spikes. Like if you're on a slope and you get bonked by one of the Gorons, you can just lose spikes and then it's GG. Because as soon as you lose spikes, you're completely vulnerable, and if you touch another Goron, you get hit and then lose a bunch of time. But it looks like all three of the runners that were doing Goron Race managed to get it. And Green Cola here has some fairly late in the day, but still plenty of time, while still inverted, to get Epona and then the guy. I almost said Epona mask. The Epona and then the Garo mask, all before night one.
Yeah. Looks like he's fine, except for there's going to be the glare of the sun at this time of day for him. So
yeah, that's the only thing.
That is going to be annoying because you got Romani's minigame to get a Epona song. Mm-hmm. Fun fact: you can lose this minigame if you and still get the song. It's just slow. You want to beat this minigame as fast as possible, and it's very tricky to do fast. And so, like, optimally, like you want to do it in under 20 seconds if you can. That is a hard feat to do. It's like it's really hard to do it in under 20 seconds consistently.
Yeah. Especially if you're playing on VC, where let's just be real, the aiming in this game isn't great. On VC, the control stick mapping, not great. It just so happens that VC is the fastest version, especially for glitchless. So it's just something you have to deal with. And as you said, yeah, under 20 seconds, I think most runners, until you get to the top level, like, will be happy with like a low 20, like maybe 19, 18. I think 17 is like around where most top runners are usually finishing if they have a good round of the minigame, but it's they could depend on the runner's skill level, and even top runners can struggle with aiming properly. We're seeing Wispy here get the fire arrows and then leave because her in-game time is very, very close to 6 p.m. So I think probably going to get this is going to be pretty tight for Wispy, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Green Cola will be the first one to start the Epona race here. There's a couple different routes you can do here, but all of them amount to about the same amount of time.
I don't think Wispy can make it.
You don't think so? Yeah.
No, it's almost 6 now.
Yeah, might just have to get the keg license and reset.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's what you got to deal with when it's a no reset race. All right, this is a decent race for, or excuse me, decent mini game for Green Cola. I think we're going to see Name Faker do the corner strat here, which you get opponent into this corner of the fence, and it makes it so one aspect of the aiming is removed, which is opponent is not moving. So you can fairly easily aim at a bunch of the balloons. Like you have a nice field of view for a bunch of the balloons here. Actually, still missing a bunch of them.
I am like the least. I am the person who really does not like that strat.
I'm a corner strat hater too. I'm with you. I just like to go around and do the game.
It makes it. I feel like if you just, it makes it harder to hit that one on the far left. Is really what the problem is.
I'll let these guys do their Gorman race, and then I'm gonna switch runners again. So it looks like, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm surprised that Incola didn't just take Epona here, because I think that's what you're supposed to do. Just because you don't want to call. Yes. Yeah, you don't have to call Epona if you just get on her after getting Epona song.
Yeah, and Epona is about the same amount of time, or about the same speed as Goron. I think maybe a little bit slower. I'm not entirely sure.
Epona's slower than Goron. It's just not having to play the song. That's really it.
Yeah. It's not slow enough to make up for that lost time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, you also use Epona to just clear the fence. So like after we get Garrow's Mask, we're heading to Great Bay.
It looks like there's a couple people who, I guess Race Time isn't like updating their Twitch URL properly. So some people, like, that's why Ragon's stream wasn't working earlier. So I'll try to do what I can to feature as many people, but if the restream technology is not going to allow me to do it, then I apologize. Yeah, for Gorman race here, 47 is like the par time, I would say, for most runners. Getting a 46 is great. 48 is fine. World record is held by another runner named Yuki's, who has, I think he's the only person to have achieved a 45 Gorman race. And there's a bunch of like cool little strats you can do to make the intro a little bit faster, so you can get a head start. But yeah, around a 46, 47, 48 is what you should be aiming for. It's like all of our runners in that range. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a new sample of runners here. Let's see here. I had a list, and then some of them just don't want to work. So let's see if I can get this correct.
So up next is getting Zora Mask. We're gonna, just because to do like anything in Great Bay, you just need Zora Mask right away.
Yep. Then getting the hook shot is another essential part of the speedrun.
So this next section is honestly what amounts to finishing like a setup for like the end, where we're just gonna get the balls we need and such that we can one, get the mirror shield, then get Nue Bossa Nova, and then we can like finish out the dungeons.
So essentially what we need to do, is it's just hookshot, mirror shield are like the big items we still need, as you said, and then it's just songs and dungeons. I think the meat and potatoes of this run for the beginning part is obviously the what we've seen so far with getting up to Garo Mask. And then it's routing all the preparations for Icona and Well, while accounting for the aliens in game time, so that you can get the third bottle. I haven't seen anybody so far. It's not going to be fairly obvious yet what they're doing, but it looks like nobody's going for 2-bottle route. I have to assume most people are just doing 3-bottle route, but it might be a little bit too early to call there. It would be nice to see at least one runner go for the 2-bottle route, just so we can see what it looks like, but
I believe in the 2-ball route, you go to Pinnacle Rock right away for like the bottom egg.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'd have to imagine. And then you can, I think, yeah, because what you'd want to do is you'd want to kill in-game time for 10 p.m. so you can sell the gold dust, and that way...
Did Claire quit?
Yeah, I think Claire forfeited, so let me find somebody else here. It's fine.
It's unfortunate. I think she was falling off a bunch. And let's
get Kuroshi on. I don't think we featured them yet. I like how somebody forfeited, and their comment. This is a rando race comment. Is couldn't find the Goron. That's a rando comment if I've ever seen one. Alright, yeah, we'll see how Kuroshi's doing here.
It's like everybody here on Restream is still inverted. So optimally, like, you uninvert like now, but depending on your level of comfort, you might not do it just yet.
And I think when I was doing my my run last night, I uninverted as soon as I hit the switch to open sewers, and that ended up making it like I was a little early for aliens still. So yeah, around the point is when we're going to see most runners do their uninvert, but they can hopefully make it with enough time to make it to the Curiosity Shop for 10, do all the graveyard stuff, make it up to Icona, and then make it to aliens right on time for the aliens. Sorry, just trying to commentate while doing some cropping here. Here we go. Yeah, we're all around the same amount of time. Looks like Dobrari's a little bit ahead, getting the switch to open sewers. And yeah, I'd have to imagine. So the important thing is if you don't invert, yeah, he's going to uninvert right now, because once you land in the water here, there's a significant amount of time where you're underwater. Not until you get to like the end of the first room of sewers is the next available moment where you can uninvert. So if you don't do it now, then you're gonna have a lot of time where you're still inverted. So would have inverted before Zora, but you missed Gold Dust. Oh, you missed the Goron race. Unfortunate.
All right.
There's another elephant in the room I think we can talk about here. These runners are on the Japanese version, and they are in the process of acquiring the Zora mask, which I'm sure is a bit of a contentious topic in this community. If you don't know,
looks like Davari pushed the block the wrong way.
Yeah, whoops. So Zora swimming in the Japanese version is notably a bit more restrictive than on the English version, in that as you begin the swim, the direction you're facing is like basically the direction you've committed to for the first second of Zora swimming. Like, you can't turn very easily. On the English version, you can fairly easily like control your direction even after you've started the swim. As well, the Zora barrier attack, the like big electric attack, On the English version, you can use it basically whenever. On the Japanese version, you have to be in the process of swimming in order to use it. So this accounts for a lot of added, I would say, difficulty. Some runners will yell at me and say, no, Japanese Zora swimming is way better, English sucks, you're wrong. But most runners, I think, are of the opinion that English Zora swimming is just strictly better.
Yeah, like, if you're at a wall in Japanese version and you bonk on it with Zora, you have to, like, actually, like, stop swimming and then turn and then start swimming again. Yeah. It's like, that's like one of the big things that you gotta be, like, make sure you are aware of.
Right. And it makes it certain stuff like Gyorg is a lot harder on the Japanese version because there's more you have to do to accommodate for the fact, like, the quick kill strat in English is just going up and down, or at least in what would be the English strat in Glitchless, is you just hold the barrier attack and then move up and down to match Gyorg's movements against the wall. On Japanese, you have to be swimming into the friggin' fish, and it can be really hard. Like, you have to be very intentional with your movement in order to not just, like, go completely away from the boss and then get eaten or whatever, you know? Like.
However, we do have a time save on the Japanese version here in the interior Pirate's Fortress in the hookshot room, where you can enter that door and not get caught because for whatever reason that pirate right there is further back at night, and they fixed that on the English version.
Yeah, so that little shot that Dobrari did there is fairly difficult, or at least I shouldn't say difficult, but it's like pretty strict on like your timing and your positioning. Because if you don't hit the beehive right away, then you are at a huge risk of getting caught. So, not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, you can't go too far forward, otherwise Avil, the leader pirate who's in the room, will catch you. So you have to be at that further back to hit the beehive in the room. Like, that's one of those quirks, because if you have the stone mask here, you can do this, like, some of this stuff on English, but she will still catch you if you have stone mask.
Yep, absolutely. They're not fooled. Yeah, so the play here is to get the hook shot, get a single Zora egg, and then we're gonna keep that Zora egg for quite a while. Because now the name of the game is first of all, getting rid of our gold dust, which is why we need to make it 10 p.m. so we can sell it to Curiosity Shop. And then I think we get a fish for the well. We get chews for a couple quick strats later on. We get another keg for the castle. And we're going to go to the graveyard, get the captain's hat, get the Song of Storms, go up to Icona, play the Song of Storms, heal Pamela's father, and get the Gibdo mask. And if the runners have managed their in-game time correctly, they will then be right on time for aliens to be able to get that third bottle and be set for a pretty nice route for the rest of collecting the Zora eggs.
The important thing about why the aliens route is very good in this is it just is that bottle with milk in it, so you don't have to go out of your way to get milk. And there is a hard requirement for milk at the end of beneath the well. So you want that milk, and it's very picky. If you show like half milk or Chateau Romani, it will not work. So you have to have a full thing of milk to go to the Gibdo at the end of beneath the well.
Yeah, half milk will not cut it. So what does 2 bottle eggs do then? I guess you just get milk from one of the cows, or what's the deal?
I would assume it is the cow in Termafield, or like the Gorman brothers.
Oh, like that's true. Yeah, you can just buy it from the Gorman. That's probably what you do, is you route your money so you can buy that. Yeah, it's got to be one of those two. Yep, so we got Brari here is heading towards the graveyard now, setting up for the key to fight. It is pretty important that we don't have the Jinx on us in order to fight Kita. I think you can get away with it with just doing Goron pounds, but like ideally you don't get hit by any of these guys.
Yeah, so the blue bubbles right there are very trolly. So you want to make sure you don't get hit by them, and they like to aggro you when you climb that ledge. So
they are just like in the perfect position to screw you over.
And there's like nothing we can do. We'd have to just like use Goron for the fight if we did get cursed. Like any of our runners got cursed, so you'd have to use Goron.
Yeah, here's the key to fight. Use some crouch stabs to hopefully make this fight fairly quick. I think ideally you get a stick jump slash, right? Or does that not work on Kita?
Stick jump slash works. That's why the power crouch stabs are being done.
Yeah. And then the stick again. You need it for the first room of the beneath the grave. So it's nice to have it equipped anyway. We're gonna see Vertigo back up doing Goron Race before continuing on. And so they've managed their in-game time such that they'll hit 10 p.m. a little later, but that's fine because they still need to do everything else in terms of rounding up to Gibdomask and then doing Aliens. I think Andy's a little bit later on his in-game time, so may need to re-invert in order to get the Aliens timing correctly. It's not the biggest loss in the world. Like obviously, like ideally you route it so you don't have to re-invert, but if it's getting hairy, like an invert, it's only a couple extra seconds of time loss to invert and then uninvert later on. The big important thing though is that you are uninverted when you do Aliens, because if you do not, then you spend like an eternity doing Aliens. Like it's just awful.
Yeah, it takes a really long time when it's inverted.
Yeah. And then like that's like the casual strat is doing Aliens inverted, because it does affect their movement speed as well. So it's a lot easier to do Aliens, but this is a speed run, so we are interested in going fast, not what's easy.
I believe Kiroshi is also going to get the gold dust now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess Kiroshi did not get the Goron Race on the first try. That's what I'm saying, is that like Goron Race is just sometimes the game says no, you know?
This fight right here with the Iron Knuckle is dangerous because we only have 4 hearts, and so one hit is death.
Yep.
But we're doing that strat with Goron for the start, and then looks like Bari's going to use Choose for the end of it. Yeah, like you can do just Goron for the end. You cannot use a stick for the first phase of the fight, if I recall correctly, because stick damage doesn't work.
For some reason, Iron Knuckles in MM do not take damage from Deku sticks, even though they do in Ocarina of Time. Like, I don't know why they made that change, but yeah, the stick just... You definitely would want to use, like, power crouch stabs if stick did work, but because it doesn't, the Goron strat is generally considered to be the fastest. And then it's a little risky, but the second phase you can just do 3 Goron punches, and if you time them correctly, then there's not really a risk. But it is something you have to practice. I've definitely died enough times on Iron Knuckle to know that it is not trivial.
Yeah, I've died on Iron Knuckles too.
Yep. It happens to the best of us. There's like a lot of weird enemy chain. Like MM has a lot of unique enemies to Ocarina of Time, but the ones that looks like Roshi fell off the bridge. It's unfortunate. There's a couple. Good.
Yeah, if you fall, if you go back far enough, there's a prompt that would you like to just stop and just try again?
Yeah. Yeah, the few enemies that did get copied over from Ocarina of Time, like almost all of them have like weird property changes that don't make a lot of sense. Like Beamos, for example, you can hookshot Beamos and attach to them in MM. That does not work in OOT for whatever reason.
Yeah, like hookshotting random enemies is always the weird one. Like, yeah. I think the most weird one is with the hookshotting is the fact that you can hookshot wall masters in this game and you can't in OOT at all. It's like, what? Yeah. Why?
In this, wall masters they drop money instead of magic, and then there's also this weird thing where like in OOT, if you hit a wall master after you've killed it, like as it's like dying, you can hit it again over and over and over again, and it'll just keep dropping magic in OOT. This does not work. They fixed that in MM, so now you can't kill wall masters over and over, which kind of sucks because it would be really nice to just farm money off of them. But
I think you're talking about the floor masters, the one on the ground.
Yeah, floor masters. My bad. They're different enemies, right? No.
They're weird changes. You can hookshot floor masters in OT, but not wall masters.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't understand it.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything. I think Wolfos don't have like the back as their weak spot in this game or something like that. I don't know if that's true actually.
No, the Wolfos still have their back as the weak spot in this.
Okay.
That at least is the same.
Okay, yeah. So, looks like, I think Dobrari is a little bit early on their in-game time. I think they're inverted right now. So they'll probably want to invert at some point soon. I think I'll let Dobrari show off aliens, and then I'll put in another batch of runners.
And this is like the last long cutscene for a while right here. I think that this is about as long, if not longer, than the Skull Kid cutscene that we saw very early on.
Mm-hmm.
Kuroshi got it. Cool. Looks like it. So, should be able to continue with the route now.
Very, very nice. I'll let you continue to commentate. I'm just gonna figure out the next batch of streamers we have.
Yeah, so... Oh, and Andy took a death. Yeah, that... Like, if you mistime anything, because we don't have access to other health, yeah, it is a one-shot.
So we have the Gibdo cutscene here. This is the longest cutscene, I think. Once you get past first cycle, I think this is the longest cutscene in the game.
I think this is the last long one until Giants cutscene. Yeah.
Yeah. This is, and it's also somewhat in the middle of the speedrun. Like it's fairly close to the halfway point. So if there ever was a bathroom break in the run, this is it.
Yeah. Yes. This cutscene is definitely your bathroom break. There's no input for a long while, and it's honestly fairly nice in that regard.
It looks like Kuroshi's gonna probably uninvert sometime soon in order to be on time for aliens. Yeah, here we got... So, Dabrari's gonna do a strat here where you pull a chew as you enter the Pamela cutscene here. And what this does is once Pamela enters the door, there's like basically this trigger where if you blow up a bomb, then it'll trigger Pamela to come out again. So you let the chew cook during the cutscene, and that'll allow Pamela to come out of the door immediately after the cutscene ends. That's a nice little... One of the reasons why we pick up chew is so that you could accomplish something similar with a bomb. It's just a lot faster with a chew.
Yeah, like she just comes right back out with the shoe, so it saves like a substantial amount of time.
Yeah. Everyone else seems to be either entering or exiting graveyard at this point.
Alright, with the Gibdo mask, all Dobrari needs is the milk bottle and will be on his way to Beneath the Well to finish it after Aliens here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll let Dabrari do Aliens, and then I'm gonna swap once again. And at this point, I've shown most of the people in the race. So I'm gonna make sure at this point I'm gonna make sure that there's at least one top level runner on the stream at all times, just so we have a an idea of where a top level speedrun would be at this point. Just for perspective here. I know we're watching runners do like Graveyard and Aliens right now. Jess is in Woodfall entering Adola right now, which means he's already done Aliens, he's already done all of Well, and he's done all of Woodfall too. So, he's got quite a good pace here. Oh, that's true, and I haven't had Ragan on yet. I'm gonna get Ragan on, just because I had difficulty earlier, because Ragan's stream is not synced up on race time with what it actually should be. I think that's just like a race time issue, so I'll put Ragan on.
For the Aliens, looks like Dabrari's just gonna play play it safe. There's an optimal strat called Barn Shot, where you hit that one on the far left through the barn. Like the barn, like through like the stable here. There's no like collision like on its sides for arrows for whatever reason, and so you just use an arrow to just shoot through it to hit the alien that's coming from the back side of the house.
Yeah, the alien to the left of the barn is the most troublesome, because it not only does it spawn closest to the barn, but it's like the first one that hits the barn, right? So the one that you gotta pay the most attention to. Should wrap up Aliens fairly soon here. Aliens ends at 5:15, so optimally you clear 2 waves of the Aliens and then you're good.
And another small thing, you want to have good movement after this, so you not enter the Beneath the Well area, just outside of it, because when you're outside of Beneath the Well area, then you can just warp out.
Hold on, I gotta fix some crop in here. So yeah, Ragan is quite significantly ahead at this point. looking like about just finishing Woodfall right now.
Looks like Dragon, instead of going to Beneath the Well, I believe is doing it now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, so for anybody who's watching the stream while they're in the race, one more wave of runners, and I believe that'll be everybody. I want to make sure everybody is featured at least once on Restream. So if you have not been featured on Restream after this next swap that I do, please yell at me, and I'll put you on the Restream for sure.
From what I can tell, I think X has done a beginner route of some sort.
It looks like it. Waiting for all the pirates to clear out. Bit of movement you can do. Nice little movement setup you can do in order to ensure that you don't get caught, but better to play it safe and do what you know, so that you can guarantee that you're not gonna get thrown out and waste a bunch of time. There's a couple things you need to account for. You need to be sure you're taking care of to manage to make sure, like here, for example, where Hex is right now, if you roll too fast, the pirate can still see you even though you're on land, so it's very easy to get caught there if you're not careful. Yeah, so we'll see the well from Ragan here.
So the last thing that you need for the well is the Big Poe. However, there is a Big Poe in here, so that's why we needed the Deku Nuts. So Deku Nuts are going to this Gibdo right here, and then bombs to the Gibdo in the next room, and then there's going to be a strat to fight the Big Poe, where you fire off a Chew right at the start, and it's going to hit the Big Poe right as the cutscene for the Big Poe spawning ends. And then optimally you time bombs afterward, such that you can hit the Big Poe right as it spawns again, and so it's effectively a stun lock. So let's see if Ryan can do it.
It's the first one. And then, yeah, you just need to pull the bomb out like immediately after each hit happens, and then you can take care of the Poe very, very quickly. Yeah, the timing is fairly tight, but it's not that hard to get consistent if you practice.
So with that, now just gonna hand the Big Poe to the next Gibdo, and then the milk, and then the final room you light for torches to get the mirror shield.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, what Dragon's going to do is he's going to be set up to collect the remainder of the Zora eggs for New Age Bossa Nova, which requires revisiting Pirate's Fortress for the remaining 3 eggs, and then visiting Pinnacle Rock for the 3 Zora eggs there.
Yeah. Again, one of the reasons it's generally preferable to get 3 bottles is so that you don't have to go back to Pinnacle Rock a second time. You can just do it all in one. one clean go of the area, and then you're ready to go on. One thing to mention, the reason T-Riss is waiting here is that you want to wait until at least 2:30 before you enter the ranch, because if you are in ranch at 2:30, there's a cutscene where the aliens begin to spawn. But if you enter afterwards, then you skip that cutscene and the aliens are just there. And stuff like that is why it's very important in this category to manage your in-game time properly, so that you are you don't have to do any sort of waiting. You can just go on and you know, generally not waste time waiting for stuff to happen. Yep, just dropping off eggs here on Ragon's side. I think what I will do is I'm gonna put Jess on once he enters GBT, because that is a very cool dungeon to show off. And Jess is just finishing up Pinnacle Rock right now. So.
Alright. And back in the revisit Pirate's Fortress, there's a trick called boat jump. I do not know if Ragon's going to go for it. I think it looks like he's going for it. To land on this boat here, so you can hookshot this barrel right over here, and all right, got it, and that saves a little bit of time over going to the other side of the area and hookshotting the torch over there.
Yeah, because the first egg you want to get is on the other side of Pirate's Fortress, so if you can enter on this side, it definitely saves like a lot of movement. So overall, yeah, it's ideal to do it. And that little jump slash there lets you get into this, what's supposed to be an exit, but as Ragon showed, you can get up there fairly easily. And you skip the pirate fight, and you skip that maze room that I haven't seen since last year when I did an intended percent with Trev. The intended percent race we did last year was on April 1st. It was me, Trev, and Jess. And Trev and I both finished. Jess forfeited, not because his speedrun went bad, but because he was extremely bored. That's how you know it's a very good category.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much for it.
Listen, I'll be back. April 1st, you know you're going to catch me and Trev playing it at least. I don't know if anybody else will play it, but...
And so, this fight here, the pirate fight, like this pirate fight, you can't skip. So, it's kind of finicky, and like you can like double hit the pirate multiple times. It can. Oh, that was close. That. If you look at Ragged's health, that 1 1/4 hearts. If you are at 1 heart. If you get hit to 1 heart in that fight, you will get kicked out, and you have to do the fight again. So, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Very glad. Alright, so... Dragon's done with Pirate's Fortress. We'll have to do Pinnacle Rock. and then we'll be done with that. Well, it looks like Tira's going back into Woodfall to get the boss key. This is something, if you're not confident in your early game routing or your in-game time management, then it's not that detrimental to save the boss key until after you go to Woodfall for the second time. Yeah, we got 2 people dropping Zora eggs on stream right now.
I don't know what Timmy's doing.
Yeah, I'm very confused. I saw him going to Great Bay Coast from Termina Field, but he has eggs. I guess maybe he just forgot to hit the owl. This might be the 2-bottle route, actually. Does he have 2 bottles? I wasn't paying attention.
It looks like a 2-bottle route, but I don't know if this is like the really old, you can't skip dungeon clears route, because like that was like an old rule set before the new one showed up. Yeah, so the question from chat, the speedrun does everything in one cycle after first cycle? Yeah, so it's a one, optimally you do everything in one cycle after the first, because like the only thing that was like the real bottleneck for that is getting a opponent song. So once you have opponent song, you pretty much have free reign to do it. So the route just doesn't in what we think is the fastest way.
Alright, so Jess is in the process of entering GBT. So I'm going to throw him back on because we'll have a lot to talk about here with the Great Bay Temple. It is, in my opinion, it's the coolest dungeon in Glitchless. I think a lot of people would agree with me there. There's a lot of cool tech.
I think we didn't get to see like much of like the back of Woodfall, but like when you had the boss key, you just like run to the boss, you just hookshot a torch, and then just run to the boss at the end. The dragonflies in the end can be little trolly, but that's like if you're familiar with this game at all, whether you play this category or like even like play like randomizer or something, you definitely are familiar with those dragonflies in the final room being little pieces of crap.
Got to enter GBT here. I think Ragon's not too far behind. Alright, so the first thing we want to do in GBT is this first room here. You can skip the puzzle in the first room and just do the water wheel. It's a nice little strat here that we're going to see Jess do. Side hop onto the platform, and he's going to time a Goron roll such that he lands on one of the propeller fins here, lifts him up, and then you can roll all the way to the other side. That is a very fast way of doing that room without having to waste time watching all the cutscenes of rotating the switches and then make it right down to this spot. And now Jess is holding target here so that when he bonks on the wall, the game is going to flip him around, and so you can get that ledge grab extremely easily. Here we've got just a nice little gainer here to get us the height we need to get up this platform. If game is nice, it is.
This dungeon's very trick heavy.
It is. It's very fast paced too. Like you make it through the dungeon extremely quickly. And so this next room, there is a skip we can do. There's a couple ways of doing this. A lot of beginners will wait until they have ice arrows and come back to this room, but you can also very easily do some movement here. This one's a little tricky, but Jess nails it. Nice little long Zora jump there. Let's get up to the boss key right away. We'll get the small key here. We do need to fight Wart in order to get the ice arrows. And interestingly enough, as far as Glitchless is concerned, there is exactly one use of ice arrows, or excuse me, 2 uses of ice arrows that are hard required.
Yeah, and both are in here.
Something is going on. The stream is frozen. Go ahead and refresh everything. See if I can. Stream frozen for you too?
Stream's working for me.
Okay.
Is Restream working, chat?
Yeah, stream is completely frozen.
So I'll talk about Wart. Wart sucks. The optimal strat is to try to hit a bomb, like throw a bomb at Wart, and then get a second bomb to explode right after, such that it will hit Wart a second time. It is very picky on the timing. And it looks like Jess got 1 double hit on the Wart during the first phase, so is down to the second phase. So bombs do, I think, double damage, so it's 4 to hitting Wart. And so when you get down to the next phase, you just want to really get the things off of Wart and just defeat them, and then like either hope a bomb hits or just start shooting. So I think that was a meh fight because the double hits didn't really work, but not really much you can do if you miss a double hit.
All right. Let's see here. Did that do? Well, okay, the layout is back. Okay, we're good. We're back. All right. So I guess we missed the Wart fight on Jess's side, but he's done already, which means he had at least a halfway decent Wart fight.
Yeah, it wasn't catastrophic. It was just not the best fight you could possibly have, of course. Like, missed the first double hit from what I saw.
Okay.
With the bombs. So.
And Ragan's going to be entering GBT now as well. And now that we have ice arrows.
Yeah, we used the first required use of ice arrow was to freeze that Octorok, and then this is the second to freeze that. Like to freeze
nice
that geyser.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it'd be kind of nice if we could skip ice arrow because we don't need it for Icona, even though the game intends for you to do that. You can very easily skip getting to the Icona. I mean, the runners already did it. It's a very, I shouldn't say very easy, but fairly. It's less restrictive than I would imagine, considering you're not supposed to be able to do it. But you can get up to Icona without ice arrows, and then obviously they're helpful for Twin Mold, but you don't need them to kill Twin Mold. Unfortunately, Ragan, a little too early there with Goron Water Wheel, but everything else looked fine, so. Gets it the second time. Lands on the axle, but that's all good. Still makes it across. So now Jess is in the process of reversing the water flow. And once he does that, he's going to do a Goron Void in order to bring him back to the last door he opened, which is going to send him all the way back to the water wheel room, or excuse me, the main cycle room, and the water flow will be reversed, so he can go activate the last couple turnkeys and finish the dungeon. There's one very important strat that is coming up for Jess in just a couple seconds, which we call Iceless. And it's one of the reasons where you can almost skip ice arrows is this next room. There's a giant water wheel that normally you're supposed to freeze a water jet and it'll freeze the entire room, but we can do all of that without it, so we're going to see Jess here go for it. And then yeah, makes it through the entire thing. Ideally you just make it through this entire section without taking off the Zora mask once. That's the optimal strat, but you can make it a little easier for yourself if you just transform 1 or 2 times.
Looks like I had trouble getting the boss key on the first jump and got stuck on the edge.
Yeah.
One small thing that happened on Tears is that he tried to crouch stab the pot and it didn't break the pot. So the default damage on crouch stabs on the Japanese version is actually 0. So you actually have to store damage before you can crouch stab anything. It's weird, but it's not like that in OOT. Tears I know is very big on OT randomizer, if I recall right.
For power crouch stab, default is actually useful. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe transforming also messes up power crouch stab.
I don't remember. I'd have to look at it.
Okay.
I just don't remember off the top of my head.
We have the Georg fight for Jess here. As I mentioned earlier, this fight's a little bit more difficult on Japanese, not because the boss is any different, but because the Zora swimming mechanics are a little different. So we're gonna have to see Jess do this little strategy where you swim into the boss and then manipulate the movement so that you're not swimming through it. You can just match its up and down movement fairly easily. And the first phase went pretty smoothly for Jess, and now he's making his way back to the platform for the second phase. It's more of the same, just a little bit less damage overall, but still the same concept. Fortunately, his positioning was a little weird. Should still be able to stun Georg the second time. And then one last little hit here, and that'll do it. That's Georg for Jess. Alright, I'm going to switch one last time. Just make sure. Okay, so this is our last batch of runners that haven't been featured on Restream yet. And also some scrub named Trev Person. Don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Yo, Xerix, what's up? Thank you very much for the Prime sub.
Oh, that's a big little alert there on one person's stream. Let me, redo some cropping here. Excuse me. First time restreamer.
How are you? Alright, I could think of worse Georg fights than
really
that
not
one.
that far behind Jess.
Yeah, pretty neck and neck. So I'll make sure to have both of them on for the end of the race. There we go. Sorry about that, folks.
Jess is right now. Both so all of the top 3 runners of this category.
Oh, I shouldn't have. Sorry, I should switch because also Trev doesn't have clean audio. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Sorry.
fine.
I think all 3 of us.
Switch. Give me a sec here, just make sure if any of these people have clean audio. Yeah, Tricky does. Okay, great. Love that. Again, if there's anybody in the race in chat who knows that they haven't been on Restream, I'm trying to keep track of everybody. And I believe everybody who's still in the race has been featured at least once. But if I've forgotten anybody, please let me know.
It looks like Shugu did a fire arrow shot to Adawa. That actually does damage to Adawa. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You want the arrows are meant to stun Adawa is the real thing.
Importantly, Adawa is another enemy that doesn't take damage from sticks. So just sword jump slashes is like your best option. And then he dies in 10 hits.
The optimal strategy is using a bomb flower for Adawa, and it's not consistent in RTA. I don't recommend.
Because
Adawa's movement's kind of random.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I think Exodus mentioned to me that bomb flowers do like a stupid amount of damage in MM, which you wouldn't expect because they show up in like 2 rooms, and one of them is Goron Race.
Yeah, bomb flowers do 8 damage to Adawa, and they can hit twice.
Oh my god.
So that's as powerful as a great fairy sword jump slash.
Yep.
In case anybody's wondering.
So one thing that I've noted is at least for RTA strats, let's forget about the bomb flower for a second, but for RTA, the strat for Odola is like shockingly similar to Wrath at the end of the game. You shoot an arrow to stun, and then the timing for the crouch stab stun lock is approximately the same for Wrath and Odola, and it's 10 hits to kill the boss if you're doing optimal strats.
Yeah, the crouch stab strat is fairly simple. We didn't talk about what just happened from Trevson. So yeah, you can just throw a powder keg over that wall, and then you just can skip half of the ancient castle of Icona. So it skips a mini boss fight where you fight a fire wizrobe for one, and yeah, it's just big time saver. It's really, really as easy as it looks, in my opinion. And then this fight, we're going to see crouch stab stun. This fight could be like you fight the guards, like the guards first before you fight the Icona King Egos himself. The guards aren't really that bad. Egos you do want to be careful with. His attacks do a heart of damage each time. And so and you do want to damage down.
Yeah. Optimally, you have a quarter heart, or excuse me, of half heart at the end of this fight, which can be a little bit weird, or Yeah, so Trev's has a heart, so he's going to be fine. He can do 2 chews. Yeah, and then takes damage. Very nice. And now he's going to be able to just throw a chew against the elegy statue and warp out of here right away. I think it's another one of those cases where like the music is still playing from the elegy music, so you get the fast game over cutscene as well.
Wizard of Ads, Crash.
Oh, was that a crash?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and swap out. Let's put Jess back on.
It was some GBT. Dang.
Might have just.
I was listening to Trav's audio. He was talking about the attack that is very dangerous from egos, where he actually, it's like akin to like almost like what you call like a desperation move in like Kingdom Hearts, where he just becomes invincible, and like he takes his head off and just goes around, and it can stun you, and then you take damage if you get stunned. I think it does like 2 hearts if you get hit. So actually that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, to avoid it, you have to just move around the field. Like, I would recommend, like, if anybody does have it happen who's in chat, to just roll around the field with Goron, and you should not get hit if you just roll around in a circle as Goron. And if you have the time, feel free to talk about the Stone Tower climb.
Yeah, so in what would be, just a normal playthrough, there's 2 sets of 3 switches that you use to climb throughout that. We have a lot of clever strategies here in order to make that a little bit faster. So we can see Jess and Trevor both at about the same point. The first set of switches, you can skip the second switch because that's the furthest block. And as we'll see from Jess here in just a second, the second most block in the path here is just close enough to the hook shot target on the other side that we can just use it for free, or like hit it for free, and then we don't need to bother. Now we're going to do a strat where we only move one of the elegy blocks in the second pattern here. And because this is the first one in the sequence, and it just so happens that this block is all the way, like it spawns all the way where we need to be, essentially. So what we can do is, you see it kind of got blocked there. So what we're going to do, what Jess is going to do is get up and he's going to step on the switch and then step off it. And what this is going to do is move the block out of the way for just long enough that the other block can move into its intended position. And now Jess is going to get up here, get on top of the block and play elegy again. And so this is going to remove the statue from the switch and move the block all the way back to its initial position, at least as far as it can go. And this carries you to basically the top of Stone Tower. And then there's 2 hookshot targets you just need to do, and then you're up to where you need to be. So this saves, like, especially because playing elegy is just so time consuming. Like, you have to listen to the song a second time, you have to watch the statue cutscene again. Every instance where you can skip playing elegy is a very good thing. Like, it saves a stupid amount of time. So it's nice that there's a little bit of a speed up you can do over what would be the intended route for climbing Stone Tower.
So this is kind of a funny open question. Like, when I first learned how to do it, you can do a weird thing on accident. If you accidentally roll into the BMOS, rolling off that switch that's right there, you actually cause a glitch where the BMOS just gets yeeted out and just dies. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if doing that accidentally invalidates the run. I would have. I'm just curious.
I would assume no, but that's a good question. Yeah, we're gonna see both Jez and Treb Person entering Stone Tower Temple. The only goal here is just get the light arrows and then flip the temple. That's all we got to do. We have to do the dungeon fairly normally. There's a couple speed ups we can do, but it's pretty close to what you would consider an intended route of this dungeon.
Importantly, now that we're here, this is the last dungeon that we have. You have to make it night of the final day, and Jess has done so already.
Yeah.
So Trev will also do it shortly.
Yeah, it depends on your skill level. When you want to set it to night 3, because you want to make sure that you're on midnight when you hit Twin Mold, but you don't want to make it so that you don't have enough time to complete the damn game. So because once you want to get to the clock tower at midnight, and it doesn't open till midnight, so ideally you open it before that. And also, if you are in South Clocktown when the clock strikes midnight, then you get the clock tower cutscene again, and obviously that's very slow. So ideally you skip that. Ideally you are killing Twin Mold like a second after midnight. This is a cool choose strategy here to kill all of the Armos in this room without having to clear the sunblock here. You can hit. Essentially, what you do is you drop a chew in such a way that it kills one of the Armos behind the block, and as it's dying, you position yourself so that it moves towards the other Armos, and then its explosion kills the second one. It's a nice little speed up there. So then there's a second small key we need to grab here.
Yeah, you can just jump out of the water, and that's the optimal way to do it. There's that Dexy hand that you can get grabbed with, but like you can like back up just swimming out of the water too.
Yeah.
And now for everybody's least favorite room in this temple.
Yep.
Yeah, this is where you clear just 2, and then the big problem is that you have these black bows that spawn, and that bomb just deletes all the black bows, so you have enough time to finish the puzzle.
Right. Yeah, this room is one of the more difficult rooms in the speed run, just because it's fairly tight in terms of how you go through the room and activate the mirror, but.
Oh, and yeah, there's the Goron damage boost here to get on this last updraft to not have to just use Deku to clear all the updrafts.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this only works on Japanese.
I don't know.
I remember hearing something about that, but I could be wrong. It's going to be a little tight. Okay. Trev gets through that room fairly easily. And Jess is at a quarter heart here, which is good because a death warp is technically fastest for this. It's kind of the same idea as the Woodfall boss key death warp, where you die right after you get the item so that the game over. When it gets big blue, that's 2 frames before the bomb explodes, so it's fairly tight, but yeah, good timing there.
Yeah, the timing on that one is way more tight than the boss game you could do to not having like any quick text on the light arrow text.
Yeah.
And it's a little unfortunate. But it's very lenient, like with the Bosky text, but yeah, just gotta match text well to really make sure you can do it with the timing. Oh yeah, we got this trick.
Yeah, this is elegy skip here. Like I said earlier, every time you can skip playing elegy is a good thing. And then this is you shoot a light arrow and you buffer it so that you roll on the same frame that you release the arrow, and it makes it so that the block moves past the arrow, and then the arrow continues and hits the switch, and then you can get that without having to play elegy in extra time. Fortunately, yeah. As we get through this race, a couple more people forfeiting, but I will in just a couple minutes. I'll switch for the end of the run. I'll switch to the people who are in the lead, so we can see people come in and finish. Obviously, I believe Jess is still in the lead, just a little bit ahead of Trev right now, and then I think Ragan, Key, and Matt are all fairly close behind. Yeah, Ragan's just entering STT right now, so I think we'll get all those on at the same time.
So we did a trick to get to the bottom where the boss key is. That skips a key, and now we got this where we do precise shots with light arrows on Igor, and doing that from below will allow us to spawn the Giant Smash chest. We don't care about actually picking up Giant Smash. We just want the chest so we can hookshot up to it after getting the boss key.
Mm-hmm.
Because the boss is behind the Igor is really what's going on.
Yeah, so when you actually start to level up and get good at this game, you realize that Giant's Mask is like extremely slow for fighting Twin Molt. The only real hope you have is like if you're playing on Japanese and you do crouch stabs, like it's not that slow, but even then, like ideally you just use arrows because the fire and ice arrows will do extra damage to the opposite colored Twin Mold. So the Twin Molds will die if you like. For example, blue Twin Mold will die to 3 fire arrow hits, and then a single regular arrow is the minimum damage you need to do. So optimally, Twin Mold is dead in 8 shots, but there's a little bit more you can do because at the beginning of the fight, the boss's positioning will always be consistent. So you can throw a bomb such that you get 1 fire arrow shot and then 1 bomb hit on blue Twin Mold, and that'll be count as the same. The bomb does the same amount of damage as the arrow hit. So then you only need to do 7 arrow shots total in order to beat the boss.
And we have Gomez here. We didn't talk about this fight.
Oh, yeah.
It's crouch stabs, but you can actually double hit on occasion, like especially after that first one. So that speeds up having to use more light arrows. So yeah, it's nice with that. It's just the only thing is you don't want to get hit by Gomez. Gomez is one of the more high damaging enemies in the game. Does 2 hearts, so with 5 hearts, it's fairly dangerous. But Jess and Trev are well practiced, so that fight went over fine. But Trev also looked like he missed early Igor, so he has to do it again or even like just go around.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's just going to keep going for it until he gets it. Yeah, Jess is on Twin Mold. He is the first runner here to make it to the fight. We'll see how good his aim is today. We'll have NA aim or not.
So one thing about MM is that there are a lot of weaknesses on bosses. So unlike enemies, oh no, just missed a lot of shots right there.
Okay, that last one that he missed was kind of garbage.
So, from what Twin Mold, they take double. Both of them take double damage to light arrows, but the blue one takes triple base damage from fire arrow, and the red one takes triple base damage from ice arrow. So you do 6. So it's 6, and they each have 20 HP, and you really want to get those elemental arrow shots if you can.
Yep. Right. Like Jess will have to do a couple extra arrow shots on the red Twin Mold here. Yeah, there he is. Still pretty fast, all things considered. All those shots he missed, he backed it up fairly well.
Yeah, the red really made up for that blue not being super great.
All right, so as we approach the end of the race here, I'll switch to the people who are generally in the lead. Matt the Link, I think, is about at the same point as Key and Ragan here. So once Jess finishes, I'll switch to him. Yeah, these are our runners. Unless I tried to scan as best I could, but hopefully we won't have any surprise first place finishers who are not on the restream. I'm fairly certain Jess is in the lead though. And yeah, looking at Jess's splits, he's about 2.5 minutes behind his PB. So we should expect to see first place finish around a 242 or so. Which a 242 for a race is like I cannot express like how good that is for a no reset race context. Like a 242 is an insanely good time. For reference, Jess and Trev are the only people who have a time better than a 242 right now. So, yeah. I guess. I think between Jess, Trev, and Ragan, all three of them have held the glitchless record at some point. So they're all very, very high caliber runners. I think Jess is the most active of the three right now. He's been focusing on Hundo and MG lately, in which he is third place right now. And he's been grinding that category pretty hardcore. So it'll be cool to see how he advances in that category. No doubt in my mind that he can compete for world record in Hundo and MG. It'll be exciting to see how that goes for this year. Yeah, so it looks like Trev is just a little bit behind. And Trev Person, again, I mentioned before, but he is, I think, of the people I see in the race room, I think he is one of the people who's been playing MM for the longest. Like his name has been, at the top of the leaderboards for as long as I can remember, for sure. He's been playing this game for a super long time, and he's had multiple records. I think of the three that I mentioned, the three names, Trev has probably like been on the top for the longest, at least historically. And then Ragan has just been like consistently competing for Trev's times as well, when he was active anyway. Haven't seen him play too much, but he might be getting back into it.
Looks like it looks like he missed early Igor.
Rip.
So we do have a lot of cutscene time on our top two runners, unfortunately, because we got not only this last cutscene after beating the temple, but we will also have the Giants cutscene here, which is the longest cutscene in the game.
Yep. And some people will look at this, a 2-minute cutscene. Ragan just got a new world record in Almas this morning. Okay, well, excuse me then. Back in the game. That's good information to have. But yeah, some people will look at this cutscene as a nice little break, like a nice time to like calm your nerves a little bit as you finish your speedrun, right? Other people like me, this cutscene is the most stressful thing ever because you're just like, come on, I just want it to be over, please. I'm dying here. So depending on your mental fortitude, this can either be a really nice cutscene or a really, really stressful one.
Yeah, and Bragging got early Igor first try.
Nice.
Yeah, so the it's kind of hard to be super calm, but you do have power crouch stab. Even with power crouch stab for Deku sticks, Majora is not a trivial fight. It's a fairly dangerous fight. So, after you, so the first phase has 14 HP. Um, you want to be able to keep Majora stunned and doing damage, so and Majora doesn't fly away, especially for the second phase. Because once the second phase starts, the remains start flying around, and the remains can shoot you for a heart of damage, and they can be a source of RNG trolling in the fight for all of the fights. The if Majora starts flying around in the second phase, it can do a laser attack, which you can reflect back for damage. It will do 2 damage if you reflect it back with the mirror shield, and it requires the mirror shield to reflect it back. And that's a way to if things get out of hand, that's a way to get things back under control. And that laser you can also reflect and destroy the remains with, funnily enough. But optimally, you don't deal with that, and you just go. So, and then after that, you got Incarnation and then Wrath, which both can be dangerous in their own respects.
I will say, I don't know about anybody else, but I know Jess told me that he's going to go for a really neat strat on the mask phase. Normally, what you would do is you would put on Zora Mask and use the fins. The fins are really effective at stunning Mask. And you can kind of do a nice little loop of the fight where you stun, hit it, and then turn back to Zora, stun it again. Jess is not going to use Zora at all. There is a really cool setup with light arrows to stun the Mask right away. It's quite difficult, but it's something that he told me he was practicing before the run. So we'll take a look there and see how he does at it. And then
in the meantime, we got our bottom 2 runners are both starting to mold. Reagan missed a few shots on blue.
Yeah, Twin Mold, the great equalizer. You could definitely catch up a lot depending on your how your Twin Mold fight goes. It can completely change the tide of a race. I know this because this happens in Rando too. It's not just speedrunning where Twin Mold can troll.
What just happened with Dragon right there? They can aggro and attack you. That's what's one of the more annoying things.
And there's what some people will do is, okay, so after you kill the first snake in Twin Mold or worm or whatever, the one that remains will start moving much faster than they do in the first phase. And so what some runners will do is they'll damage both snakes down to 1 health and then shoot one, shoot the other. So you only have to do 1 shot with the faster Twin Mold. However, in the second phase, they are also much less aggressive, and there's only 1 of them, so it's a little bit easier to not get hit. So it's kind of this trade-off that you have to account for. Let's take a look. Take a look at Jess here. Watch how he does this. There's a little pause buffer you do at the beginning to make sure you get the light arrow shot on the correct frame.
Yeah, my personal preference is to just get one out off the field so they stop attacking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's again, it's a trade-off, and I think optimally you kill one as quickly as possible. All right, check out the strat. There's the pause buffer. There's the frame. There you go. Stuns the mask right away. And then you use a bomb. You pull the bomb at the correct timing, and it stuns. And so now this is the next hard part, is once the remains start flying around, I think this next shot is fairly precise as well. And he gets it. Very, very nice. And so ideally, you remove as much magic as you can in this phase, so that on the third phase, you shoot a light arrow with no magic, because it'll still stun Wrath. Even though, is that new? I think it's fairly new. Just used it in his PB, and he told me that it's the reason he got a 239 is that he did that strat, because I think he didn't have the best incarnation in Wrath. All right, so this is Incarnation Bomb here. There's a hitbox in this phase of the fight specifically. In the center of the room, no matter where you are, you will always stun Incarnation, and then you can use a second bomb here to increase that. And of course, we saw Jess do a stick jump slash to get that as well. And now he's on to Wrath. He is 10 crouch stabs away from finishing this speedrun. It's a year or two? Okay. Okay, throws a bomb there.
I think I was like the first person like start throwing the bomb. The bomb just makes Raph stay off the middle, and if Raph goes to like one of the corners, then you are less likely to get attacked by a remain.
Jess is like 1 or 2 hits away from killing Wrath.
Yeah, that is 1 hit.
Yeah, the Beyblades are out.
Yeah, low health Wrath is very dangerous with the attacks, but got through it. All right.
There you go. GG Jess. Biggest Wrath choke of all time. Still finishing in first place with a 242.49. Very, very nice. Tread person just a little bit behind on the mask phase right now, so I believe he'll be second. GG Jess, congrats on winning the race. And I'm going to swap over to who I believe is fairly even with a couple other runners now. With Matt, the link here. Okay, he's on twin mold, so he's a little bit behind the rest of the pack, but still fairly close to finishing the game. Let me just do some intel here to see who else is fairly far along in the speedrun. Okay, Morpheus is also on twin mold, so I'll put him on when Trev finishes.
Yeah, so it's really important to make sure you do get the stun lock on Wrath, because you can't. It is a stun lock on Wrath, because the lower health Wrath has, the more dangerous its attacks are. There's not only those Beyblades that we saw; those are when Wrath is at low health, but there's also a grab that you cannot get out of if you're like human.
Yeah.
So you really do want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And
GG
Trev.
Yeah, that was. I think Trev had. I mean, he got lucky with remains not shooting, but that's about as fast as Wrath can be, really. Just stun him right away, and then 10 crouch stabs, and you win. Yeah, and yeah, 242 and then a 244. Those are really, really good race times. Like,
yeah, like it goes without saying, those were really good for this, and I don't think either of these runners, like they got the top 2 runners here. I don't think played Glitchless in a while, so it's like that's a really good showing.
Jess and Trev, if you guys are around, I will invite you if you guys would like to speak in the interview. Just let me know. If you'd like to have a conversation, talk about how you did. Down? All right, just hop in the You know the place. You know the place to be. Hey, Jess.
Yo,
How you feeling?
pretty good. It was a good race time.
Yeah, definitely. Good for
I
third
mean,
on the leaderboard.
yeah. Actually, most random thing happened. Like golded light arrow by like almost nothing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Getting a gold split in a race is a really nice feeling.
I almost golded Majora and then I just couldn't do Wrath.
Yeah, we were talking about the fast strat for mask that you were practicing, and I'm glad you got that. Glad you
Yeah.
get to show that off.
That was like the one thing I wanted to do on restream was do that. It's
Yeah,
like
that was really cool.
yeah, that's like the biggest thing I've added in like a long time. I still
Yeah,
don't
of
have
course.
a gold with it, so maybe one day. Yeah, it's a fun strat.
Gonna go ahead and put Morpheus on here because I think he's just about to finish as well.
Yeah, I was looking here and there, and yeah, Trev was like pretty close like the whole time. It seemed like.
All four of these people are on the Giants cutscene in some form or another.
How much time is it lost from early Igor? Because Trev messed up early Igor, and that was like one of the bigger things.
I don't know, but it feels like it's a fair bit.
Yeah, you two are very close after getting Elegy, and that's one of the big things that Trev lost time on.
I was
So
mad though. I saw Trev got double bombs.
yeah, Trev was the only person that we had on Restream get
They got
bombs.
bombs.
Everybody else got nothing.
He took all the bombs from us.
Yeah. Wonder what the probability of that is. So your most recent glitchless PB was back in what, September of last year?
September, yeah,
September. And then since then you've been very much on the Hundo NMG grind.
yeah,
I think is what you said you've been you're gonna be doing after this as well.
yeah. I'm actually gonna do runs after I eat,
Very
so
cool.
I'm gonna be right back on the grind.
Yeah. So you're currently third place in that, behind Marco by about 2 minutes. So yeah. Have
Yeah,
high hopes for you.
behind Pope and Marco, who are like within like a few seconds of each other.
There you go. And then we were mentioning earlier, I think Trev, I don't know if Trev's been actively running. Ragan just got a new all masks world record this morning, which is pretty cool. Cool to see him active.
Yeah, I think Trev's done some like offline randos here and there, but he's not been really running recently.
Yeah, makes sense. Key and Ragan are like extremely close right now.
Damn,
Like
yeah.
either one of them can finish like there's definitely like this fight can go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, Dragon is having trouble with first phase. Dargo, wait. Um, Thankfully it's first phase, so the laser tag didn't come out.
I think of the biggest mistakes in my run. The first like really big mistake was getting stalactite trolled. I don't know if I was on. I don't think I was on restream during that.
Yeah, that wasn't on restream. Yeah, that sucks. There's not
Yeah, it was
much
the
you can
first
really do
like.
about it.
Yeah, that's nothing you can do about that.
We had a couple runners lose Goron race, which I mean it's to be expected, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, in this big of a race, like people are gonna lose Goron race.
Actually, you know what? I should honestly develop a backup strat for like there should be like a backup strat for getting stalagmite troll because you can still like do like the weird bomb stuff and just throw a bomb at him when he gets close to you and it'll stun him. So that could be a backup for if you get stalagmite trolled.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to do it.
So I'm honestly really curious about it.
And that'll be, I think Key might have had a fake finish there. There's some good backup positions. Yeah, might be proactive to learn that. Because it's not just glitchless. Like that strat is, I think, what you do in every single category. So yeah, there's Key's finish with the 251. Yep. And I think Ragan. I think we'll get.
By the way,
some people in for an interview.
Morph is actually on PB pace.
Morpheus is on PB pace. That's cool.
Yeah, he's 35 ahead of his PB.
Okay. Looks like Ragan's okay. That was bad. He got remains trolled. Yeah. So what happened was he blocked the shot, and it pushed him back enough so he couldn't get the hit on Brad to keep the stunlock going. And yeah, and he got grabbed as a result afterward. It's one of the, and the worst part was he was out of arrows. But GG.
How's it going, Trev?
Yo, Trev.
Yo, what up?
GG.
Hello.
Do you have me
Dude,
not
my chat literally reminded me to like unmute you. I'm never gonna live that down.
That's so funny. We were like playing Phasmophobia or something at some point, and you never unmuted me after that.
Yeah. That's what it was. I couldn't remember why I had you muted.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why.
Yeah, and I just did an entire interview with Jessen Call with him muted, and I was probably cutting him off constantly and just ignoring him. It's pretty good.
All right, so I'm going to put on Samp is on Giants cutscene right now, and then Green Cola. I believe I did a quick scan again. I think Green Cola is on Twimble is the next closest here. Yeah, we should see.
If I may say, it looks like Green Cola is not at the right in-game time for the clock tower. So I think I think if he was, he'd be on PB pace.
What's Cola's PB?
I think it's a 308. So it's hard to say.
Really quick, actually, I'm gonna raid somebody and my stream, and then we can do whatever.
Sure. Yep. So looks like Matt is starting Incarnation here. I forgot the name of the friggin' boss for a second. And then Morpheus should be finishing very soon. I'll try not to crowd up the restream interview. What I think I'll do is we'll let Green Cola finish, and then we'll probably call it at that. Don't want to be sitting here for an eternity, but we'll go ahead and raid somebody else who's still in the race. Until then, we can hang out.
Yeah, this is a fun race. I'm glad we finally got together and organized this.
Yeah, thank you so much for kind of spearheading this. I know for a while it looked like there didn't seem like anybody was going to set it up, so we're glad we had a good community leader in Jess setting it up.
GG's Matt the link for 5th place finish.
GG.
There's Ragan with the raid. Thank you very much. Congrats on the finish. Yeah, a lot of close finishes. We see a couple people finishing in pairs. Key and Ragan, really like Jess and Trev finished within like a minute or two of each other. Key and Reagan within a minute, and then Matt and Morpheus also within a minute.
Yeah, that looks like that was a PB for Morpheus. 2:55 and 19.
1 minute PB.
Just the race time comment from Reagan said, "If only I had copied what Jess did, maybe I would have a good time."
We saw that coffee fossil in chat.
Dude. Yeah, so Morpheus's PB on the leaderboard is a 2:56.25, so that's a PB by over a minute. So congrats to him.
Gaming. Yeah, last year when he did this race, he was only like 10 seconds off his 2:56, I think. So he's always been close.
And now we got Samp still waiting on the Giants cutscene here. Then we'll wait for Green Color Official. Hey,
welcome back.
How you doing?
I am doing.
We think well, we were talking about this earlier. One of the big you and Jess were neck and neck for a lot of this race, which was very exciting to see.
I heard my chat told me after I finished we were like within a couple seconds of each other until Georg, and then I had a bad Georg fight.
Yeah, rip.
Didn't die, but it was terrible.
As long as you didn't die.
Not dying is good.
Get a couple more.
How was your run overall, Trev?
Overall, I mean, it was better than I was expecting, honestly, because I did the practice run yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got my practice run yesterday, which was my first run in literal months, maybe even since last year, the last Glitchless annual race, so like in a year. I got a 2:47, so improved it a little further. Feels pretty good, actually.
So I don't have my ear to the ground to the community as much as I'd like to. Like I've been trying to give a little bit of context as where the runners are, how their place in the community, and what they've been doing lately. Have you been playing MM much? You been on the grind at all, or?
On the grind, not particularly. Not. I have been like away for the last couple months. I've done a couple randos offline, but I've not been playing much. I've been doing IRL stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this was my first like real speedrun of anything in quite a few months, I'd say. It was fun. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. Very exciting.
It may snowball into me doing more stuff again. That's the hope.
That's the idea. I mean, I think that's the intent behind this race, is to get people excited, interested in playing Glitchless, and hopefully motivated to start.
If I may interject, I do feel like the GDQ run really got people into playing this game again. So I do feel like that's been a huge factor.
Yeah.
It's nice. Last year we had 17 people, and how many do we have enter? Like 29.
28, yeah.
28, yeah. I taught 2 people the whole run.
That's
before,
awesome.
And they didn't even get to play. Neither of them joined.
Yeah,
one of them was not feeling well, and so ended up not being able to play. The other one had something come up, so they were driving at the start of the race. The time just ended up being bad for them. They're both still gonna run, as far as I know, but they just couldn't join the race.
Oh my god, I completely missed Phase finishing.
Oh god, Samp is in a predicament. I don't know if he has a Ooh, does he have a fairy? He just...
Oh no.
I didn't see what happened. Oh gosh.
No. That's very tragic.
I find Samp is cooler than me though, because he's gonna finish with less heart containers.
True. I also did 5 hearts.
I accidentally I grabbed the dollar heart container because of Hundo muscle memory, so I ended up with 6.
I ended up just grabbing a dollar heart container because I was at half a heart there. So I'm just like, I'll take the refill. It's gonna mess up like all my movement if I don't. Because I'm literally about to go do boat jump after that. So
the only bad thing about 5 hearts there is Egos. That's the only thing that's bad about having an extra heart.
Makes word easier.
Yeah.
Dude, Dodo, if you learn the glitchless run for next year and you get a 430, I'll make sure you're on restream for the entire race. Just for you, bud. Just for you.
No, like I was saying, Chad, I think you'd do way better than that on your first run.
I think so too. I think Dodo's execution is a lot better than that. Welcome, Matt, as well. GG on your time.
GG.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually happy. I said I'm happy if I get a sub 255, and I barely reached it, so yeah.
That's how it be. Yeah. How do you feel about the run overall? Anything you want to call out specifically?
Pretty good. I am surprised that I managed to get a pretty decent Great Bay Temple. The only thing that wasn't that good was Ward, but yeah. And I missed a few times early Igor. I needed to reload my magic, I think 2 times. And I had not the best twin world as well, even though I practiced that a lot before the race. But yeah, still overall, I'm happy.
GG to FaZe as well.
Hey, thank you.
GG.
GG's.
GG's.
GG, everyone.
Okay. This guy just casually beating my PB in a race run. Can't believe this.
I think that means you need to come back. You need to do some runs.
Yeah.
Gotta get that sub 3, man.
I know. I said sub 3 soon 3 years ago.
Honestly,
it'll happen one day.
With all your experience in the game now, no chance you don't just get it.
Yeah, I think so too. I just need to start grinding the category. Usually, this guy's just screwed around and played rando for the last 3 years, so you never know.
Do you want to know what I did?
What did you do?
I made a bet with my friend Namefaker that if he beats my PB, then I'm gonna start running it again.
Ooh.
And then that happened in December, and then I did runs again, and then got my sub 3 last month.
I'm gonna say, I'm pretty sure Namefaker is somebody who you kind of fostered into the community. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Between this and rando as well.
He's my rando / gaming buddy.
That's awesome. And yeah, I did notice there were quite a few people who I recognized from earlier seasons of rando in this race. You know, Green Cola, Namefaker, Wispy as well. Just Sam, the boss.
The boss.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy to see some people giving real speedruns a shot too.
Yeah, there was a point like last year where there were a fair few rando players picking up Glitchless. This is cool.
I do have to shout out Trev as well. You mentioned earlier that you were teaching 2 people to run. Trev was pretty instrumental in fostering me to begin learning this category as well.
Yeah, I remember the GDQ race, right?
Yeah, GDQ 2020. Trev hosted a glitchless race, and that was my first ever glitchless run that I did on English N64. And it was miserable, but I had a good time. What's messed up is our good friend Drunus was also in that race, but I didn't know him at the time, and now we're like super good friends, but missed an opportunity to meet him early.
Yeah, when I did my first run, I started with Drunus too.
Yeah. What a homie.
Also around the same time, yeah.
We have to get Trev back to a GDQ so we can have another glitchless race.
I know. I was planning to go to the most recent one, just like a month or 2 ago, and it just ended up falling through. Like my rooming situation fell through, and then like after that, all my other like options were more expensive, and so I just ended up not going, which was a little sad.
Hopefully soon we could get you back.
Yeah, I want to go to one too. I haven't been yet.
Yeah, we gotta get Jess to a GDQ. It'd be great. I've been to 4 now, and I don't intend on stopping to go. They're a lot of fun. And people in Europe have ESA, which I've heard is a very similar experience. I don't know, FaZe or Matt, if you've been to ESA at all or have any plans?
So far not, but I definitely have plans to go at one time.
ESA Winter happened this week.
Yeah.
Today's the last day.
Hey.
All right, wait. Samples on Wrath.
Yeah.
He's actually. I think he's died twice now. Actually, this is. Oh no. Wrath is on the move. Died.
And one of the more important things is that Wrath does get away. Blocking with shield is like one of the most important things, so you don't get knocked over.
Shield is your best friend in this fight.
Yeah, I usually want to give Wrath first move. Oh no, the Beyblades are out though.
One thing I feel like, I think it's so funny that everybody in the community, no matter how long they've been running this game, every single person calls them the Beyblades.
I don't know.
They just are the Beyblades.
I don't think anybody knows what else to call them.
I don't think anyone's gonna
spinning top.
Like you can't tell me that like when that move was devised that like it wasn't just inspired by Beyblades. There's no way.
Wait, were Beyblades like even around?
Beyblades are really old. I thought.
I thought those were like mid. I thought those were like mid 2000s.
I remember playing Beyblades as early as like 2003.
Beyblades were first released in July of 1999, literally right around the time of MM. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight inspiration from Beyblade then. Makes you not know that and realize you're that old.
I didn't either. I just Googled it just now. I'm like, and it just lines up so well. They're like, okay. We're yoinking that.
Looks like one Nintendo dev bought one of them. Then he's like, oh, I have a cool idea for the last phase.
Let's just make one of the worst moves in the game real quick.
Dodo, shut up. He didn't say that. All right. Yeah, we'll let this last batch of runners, we'll let Green Cola finish here, and then probably call it quits.
This was the biggest race ever, right?
Yeah.
For Glitchless, absolutely.
Yeah, last year was 17 people.
Yeah.
GG's. Yeah, if Green Call remembered to play Song a double time earlier, that would have been a PB. That's unfortunate.
Rip.
That is tragic. That is like the big thing in this category, that if you just forget that, it feels so bad. You can lose so much time.
Yeah, that happens to everyone at least once.
Yep.
Also, at some point, everyone will forget to invert. I've definitely done this.
Like in the beginning of Cycle 2.
Yeah, in the very beginning, yeah. Cycle 2.
I've done that before. I didn't realize until like end of Deku Palace where it was like already noon, and I'm like, well, it's over.
Yeah, that's like usually when I've realized, like after Deku Palace, I'm like, wait, not inverted. Cool.
Because like as you ramp up and get experience in this category, you kind of get a feel for like looking at your in-game time at certain points and seeing like, okay, it's like 10 a.m. at this point, I should be, relatively on pace or whatever. So just those certain points when you're glancing at the clock, you see it's like, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Adjust on the fly. For like, obviously for like actually grinding out this category, you're able to reset if you mess up. But for a race, you got to make sure that you're backing up whatever you do.
Exactly.
And I think one of the big things, especially for a race like this, is Goron race. It deserves a call out because that's just something that, like, if the game says no, you don't get to win Goron race. Normally you can reset, but in a race like this, you got to deal with that. You got to hold that.
Yo, did you see my Goron race?
I don't know if we did.
God, mine was so stressful. I bonked a wall like right after the bridge, and it was like it kind of looked like I was gonna fall, but I just barely didn't. Like they bonked me to the right, and I veered off and almost straight off the path, but it was like into a wall. But it's like as the wall is starting to slant outward. So it's like I could have fallen, but the bonk sent me far enough back. It's like basically I cut across a really small corner when I got bonked to the right, and then I bonked and it sent me back over that really small corner.
Very nice.
So I'm just going over this like really small corner that like I could fall in.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the bridge.
I'm like pretty confident in Goron race, but that's like the thing I'm worried about the most when I do glitchless races.
Yeah.
I practiced Goron race before the community race, and I lost it 2 times in a row. And going into it during the race, I was worried, but.
And I don't know if anybody did get the lucky they all fall off part in this one.
No, it's not very likely.
Yeah, it's not. It's just silly when it does happen.
It's also hard to tell in this category because you don't have a map and like you're not
right.
Not all of them are in front of you there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's Vertigo with the finish as well. With that, I'm gonna throw it over. We can still talk for a little bit, but I'm gonna throw it over to the interview screen now. Yeah, I was gonna say there's not too much in this game where it's just like even if you play as good as you can, sometimes Goron race is just gonna screw you over, and there's not much you can do. Thankfully, that's like one of the only things that's really uncontrollable. And obviously, as you get better at the game, you can you can still control it.
I'd say with enough practice, you can win like 80-90% of the time, but in a race, it's still always stressful because like that small percentage of the time, there are just losses that are like, I don't know how I could have reasonably reacted to that. Like if I had like foresight, I could have done something about that, but a lot of time you just don't.
So it's just very hard to like put enough time into it to be at that point. You really have to like know what the Gorons are gonna do.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where if I don't practice it, like I'm not thinking about like you have to be thinking about like okay, this could happen at like almost every minute of the Goron race, right? Like at every point. It's like you're constantly like all those losses and all the dumb things that have happened. It's like okay, yeah, this can happen because it's happened before. Don't be here. Like at pretty much every point in the Goron race. And so that's what's really obnoxious about it is that if you haven't done it a lot recently, you just forget all of that because it's so much to think about.
All right. I think with that, we're ready to wrap up here. Thank you, everybody who participated in the race this year. GG to all the runners who finished so far. My name is Video James. I was your restreamer and commentator today. Thank you so much to Fox for being my co-commentator, bringing on the knowledge. Lots of insight. Very, very fun race to commentate. Shout outs to Jess for organizing a lot of this. Appreciate you putting that forward and look forward to next year. Thank you as well for ZSR for allowing us to have our race, to host it here on this restream. And shout out to you for watching and supporting Zelda Speedruns and the Speedrun community as a whole. With that,
so we just say like if you're interested with in speedrunning like I don't know if the Discord server is available